Welcome everyone to Fox Talks. Thank you all so much for joining us tonight. Sorry about the confusion. I just realized about 15 minutes ago that my mic was broke. So we'll make do tonight with this, and yeah, whatever. I'm of course your host, Ronan Fox. In the spirit of change, got a lot of things happening this week. Joining us for the first time is our new voice in the void, Miss Taryn Hackett. Say hello, Taryn.
Well, golly gee shucks, howdy, y'all.
Yep, she's from Texas. Cody is now the official mod of the show, so he'll be helping out in the chat, running polls and such like that. Go ahead and type hello, Cody. And of course, we still have the boss, Mr. Chris Solo. Say hello, Chris.
Hello, Chris.
Awesome. And with that, we have an excellent show for you tonight. Let's hit up the sponsors. Let's pay for this thing, and let's dive in. So a couple sponsors we have are first off is Critical Dice. That's our newest one. So big shout out to them. You guys can go to their website and type in Fable42 for 20% off non-discounted or non-subscription based items. And I just got my new dice today,
Me
actually.
as well. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
they're
Me too.
very nice.
I love them.
So super excited to use those. And then the second sponsor we have is Griffin Co. So anything that you guys see that is 3D printed on any of those streams is brought to you by Griffin Co. So big shout out to them. Okay, so with that out of the way, I still have no idea what I'm doing. You have nothing better to do, so let's everyone take one single breath, and I'll see you after the intro. Let's roll it. Oh, that was a really eventful 5 seconds. Let me just tell you.
I'm having
That's
a really
what she
hard time
said.
understanding how you can't manage to take a drink of water in that amount of time.
Well, you just learned. Like, lots of things just happened. Like, I didn't even have a chance to pick up my cup this time.
I do love that I got the "that's what she said" joke out before Taryn could, because Taryn was really focused on
I'm so
a very
upset with
eventful 5 seconds. Sorry.
Oh, I didn't.
you. I'm so proud.
Yeah, it's whatever.
I'm rubbing off on everyone.
Yeah, oh no. Okay, well, whatever. Let's jump right into it. So this first segment, I didn't name it last week. I think we're gonna call it "What the Fox." It's basically again sort of news that's going on in the tabletop world, and then also sort of what's going on within our own campaigns. So the first bit of news may surprise you. Actually, it's not directly tabletop related, but it turns out that the Dungeons and Dragons Online, the MMO based on the tabletop RPG that we all know and love, is celebrating its 15th year anniversary. So congratulations!
People actually still play that game?
I'll be honest. I was yesterday years old when I found out that we had a D&D MMO.
I knew it existed, but again, it was one of those things I had assumed it went away. I'm proud and happy for them that it exists, but
Yeah.
I did
It
not
had
know.
like 2,000 likes on like shares or whatever, Facebook shares on the article. So, if a
Those
fraction
are
of
all
those people,
2,000 of the players.
right? I mean, so
I might check it
congratulations
out
to the
now.
3 guys that are still playing. No, it's awesome. But whatever, it's not the first thing I didn't realize. So whatever.
Nope.
I mean, it was a pretty good game. It wasn't terrible. We're talking about like
Really?
the Neverwinter Nights or whatever the hell it's called.
Yeah. No,
Other
this
people
is.
seem to disagree.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Whatever. Whatever. I think it's cool. I just
Yeah.
didn't know it. I didn't know it existed. But anyway, so yeah, I mean, again, it's not the first thing that I've ever missed. I said I just recently
We
learned
all
that.
saw the finale of Wizards. We all know there were many things that you missed.
Oh, shut up. Yeah, whatever.
Wah,
I
wah.
I am not the most in tune person. Whatever. So fuck
I
you.
mean,
Whatever.
speaking of things missed, I just want the audience to know that Renee gave Dungeons and Dragons Online 2 big thumbs down.
Oh, okay. Noted. Well, anyway, 15 years is no small feat. So whatever. 15 years ago, I was still in college, full of aspirations, and now, I'm sitting here before you're a broken shell of a man. So
I mean, did they just leave like the lights on for 15 years, or did they actually update anything?
No, they got new shit. Like they have giveaways. Like that's what I was gonna say next. They have some gifts that they're giving away as part of the celebration. I don't know if you guys are interested, check it out.
I might just. That way I can sink even more of my time into things that. I'm kidding. I won't do that. It's a bad idea.
With Baldur's Gate 3 out, I just
Oh,
whatever.
I haven't even taken that dive because you'll never see me again.
And you can play it online, so we need to do that. All right, what else? All right, moving on. Okay, so you guys may have also seen this. The Adventure League is revising its PHB +1 rule. If you have no idea what that is, neither did I until just recently. It basically dictated character creation. So basically, you were limited to using the player's handbook plus one other piece of source material. But with so many books, that's like going to Dunkin' Donuts, trying to pick out a single type of donut. I dare you to try. It's fucking impossible. So these new rules kind of relax that a little bit, allowing players a wider range of access to character choice depending on the type of campaign they're in. That means that one idiot that wants to fuck over your party full of rogues by being a Luxodon is now completely able to do so. Damn it, Todd. Overall, it's a good thing. The only reason I use that example is that actually happened to me. But anyway, overall, it's something I'm excited for. Started in Adventures League, so people that play these types of campaigns will experience more content, which is, in the end, better for all the players, except for Todd. Yeah, he was
Todd.
going. It
Todd's
wasn't
catching
his.
a lot of flack.
Todd is a name that I picked to keep the anonymity of the person, but they were going to be a plate-wearing Luxodon cleric, and we were trying to be all rogues. And
so you were mad that you were getting a healer.
yeah. Okay, listen, that's not whatever. Shut up.
Yeah. Okay. Sure.
We wouldn't need a healer if we could just sneak around and kill things.
Yeah, that's how that works. Go ahead.
Okay, whatever. Shut up. In non-D&D tabletop news, this ought to excite Taryn. There is a new Achtung Cthulhu that is being released. Very happy about the idea of a Cthulhu setting where I get to punch Nazis, and at the same time terrified that Taryn will have more Eldritch Horror source material as inspiration.
Guess who's already been looking into that series? Because you mean I get to punch Nazis and fight Cthulhu?
Right.
I mean, yes.
Yeah. It uses Modifius's 2d20 system, which I've never used, so I'm kind of curious about that. But you get to play members of the French Resistance, and I was literally typing French Resistance, and I could hear April saying "Hello, Thegan" in that accent. So that's all I could concentrate on after that. So I said, "Fuck that, I'm moving on." So anyway, they have a Kickstarter going on. They have a one-shot that you can play through now, so it's pretty cool. Okay, what's going on closer to home? Let's see what's going on in the Fableverse. Well, last Friday, got a little preview of this Friday, but last Friday was the premiere season 3 of Wizards of Ukador. We had the fallout from the Ascension. We watched as Silverthorn tried to come to terms with the crazy shit that's happened recently, specifically the loss of house favorite Astra. No real chance to say goodbye to her, though, as she was disintegrated into a pile of dust. So, all they could do was really cry. It's a good thing no one sneezed, though, because that would have been awkward.
Really?
Yeah, because they would have flown her. It would have been a nice send-off. And then there was the obvious trauma of losing Rook, as Lily and Othello both mourn that loss. So if we're recapping, that's Astra and Rook, with seemingly zero fucks given to their fellow Silverthorn who's no longer there. Ebdar.
I mean,
it was like an hour before Ebdar was mentioned. Felt bad. Anyway, maybe I was wrong about Silverthorn because that seemed pretty heartless. So
I mean,
maybe they are pretty dope people.
I'm a little biased for that house.
Sure.
Oh,
I got a funny story real fast. So me and Lily are or me and Lizzie, damn it. Me and Lizzie are having shared backstory for something coming up, and we were tossing around names for a character that was going to be like connecting us both, and we wanted something exotic, so she pitched the idea of Desert Lily, and I was like, I could do without the Lily part. I'm just going to skip on that. I'm going to use my veto. It's still a little too soon.
A little salty. What's wrong?
Forever.
What's wrong, Thegan?
Whatever.
Are you
all right,
Thegan?
So anyway, I'm moving on. So we had all those crazy fights and everything. So following the intrusion, the school basically instilled some new defenses. including those that have battled the Hesian Empire previously, namely Viago, if anybody's familiar with sort of Fable 42 lore. He is 50% orc, 50% Goliath, and 100% on his rebound. You know it's coming. He's got
More salt.
twice the size, but half the raw sex appeal. I'm just saying. There's also another defender that sounded like my Uncle Earl with 3 teeth and a serious meth addiction. So, you know, the school's in super good hands, I think. I
You
don't
know,
know
dude.
who
I
was
wanna,
that, Chris?
It's Nalio, man. What's wrong with Nalio?
I want to.
No, I'm just kidding.
Come
That's
visit you
it.
so
That was his last
bad.
name. It's Berro is his first name.
I want to
Battle.
visit you, but like currently, like the way you describe everything,
My
I'm
family.
like, I feel like I'm gonna, like, I'll lose teeth going there.
Yeah. Yeah. It's yeah, you wash your meth down with Mountain Dew. That's what we do here.
Lord.
Anyway, I don't know where I was. The new Silverthorn. So replacing Ebdar, who again is not there. His name's Golok, I think is how you pronounce it. He's an orc wizard, you know, that old song and dance. But don't let the exterior fool you, though. This orc is Silverthorn through and through. He's as soft as wet toilet paper. Who requested extra closet space for all of his emotional baggage. But he seems like a pretty good time. We also learned that the threat to the school is not over, as the Hesians are a mere 5 miles away, or as we would say in West Virginia, over yonder. I wonder why they're so close. It's almost as if someone told them that they would be there. Anyway. And just like that, when I'm faced with some sort of bit of difficulty in my life, they just decided to throw up the deuce and fucking yeet the school. So not just to a different continent, but like to a whole nother planet. And so that's some premium grade antidepressant there. So got more of that to look forward to tonight. What else?
Well, I'm sure nothing wrong will happen if we've learned anything in the solo verse.
Yeah,
so happy.
I guess we're all going to be in Greyhawk eventually, but I guess it's going to be everybody's story leading there. So assuming I don't know, obviously we'll kind of see tonight, but I don't know if they sent out different parties. We know Silverthorn went out to look for stuff. Are the Moonlanders going to have to do something different? That's what I'm waiting to see tonight. And I'm also very excited for Frost Guards because ain't nobody ready for that change of pace.
I mean, I am.
Yeah.
We are a house full of tiny people now.
Tiny sprite people.
Tiny sprite people and Himian.
and Himian. Yeah. Okay, so Vault was on Saturday. That was great. You know, it's a good show when Rita's bagger grenades is the third most explosive thing in the episode. Shit got nuts. That's what I'm saying.
OMG.
Yeah, it did. It started out as a hot mess. Middle of a battle. You had Ash fighting a Protectron. I said it right. That was just trying to Baymax people back to life. Pawn, the new guy, he was bleeding to death. So he wasn't bothering anybody. Clay decided to teach the Raiders that every particle of matter in the universe attracts every other particle at varying force. Or as I learned it in school, fast drop and hard stop equals bad. But man, it really, like, the battle was kind of like half of the episode, the lesser intense half, I'd say. It wasn't until after the screaming ended that shit got real serious, sort of on a more intimate level. So Clay revealed that he is in fact a ghoul with a face only a mother could love. Well, I say that, but his mother bolted. So
That's so mean.
Listen, I'm just here to spit the facts.
Wow. Just
This is actually maybe the first episode where I don't reference Carrick's dead dad, so I call it progress.
Well, you just ruined that.
Oh shit, I did mention it, didn't I?
Yes, you just did.
Carrick's dad is dead. Anyway, speaking of depressing, Marcus may have gotten a new addiction, so that's pretty dope. Get it? He learned the hard way that withdrawal sucks, and I know he was only seconds from saying the hell with this and returning to Tweaker Town to dance it out and hug the sun. So that'd be pretty exciting. You know who else could use some medication to help relax themselves? Ash. She almost committed accidental suicide after learning that Tipper was a robot. Really, we're 15 episodes in, and Ash just learned Tipper's secret. How she didn't realize that after 5 minutes, beyond me. That would be like me living with Solo for a month, and only at the end of that month just realizing, wow, I think this dude has too much on his plate. Fuck me, you think?
I was like, no, I'm gonna let Solo check it. What's happening?
I got nothing.
Yeah, it's true. Uh,
Hashtag the truth.
you know, I know I literally live on the other side of the country, and I know that as a fact. Okay, so anyway, Shaw Gall was fucking
Amazing.
stressful as hell. Our little idiots magooed their way into the corrupted heart of the glacier. So congratulations on that, Taryn.
I resent that remark, but that
Right.
phrasing of magooing our way through things is just too gorgeous to hate.
I mean, it is. I think we are the legendary Magoos. I think that's our new name.
Legendary Goose. Please make it happen. And you guys faced Vermina, I think is how you say it. Probably not. She'll correct me. She's the Ice Queen Imposter. It's like that
Yep.
crappy knockoff Elsa that you pay $50 to come to your daughter's birthday party because she's 5 and clearly won't fucking know the difference. This was really Cass's show, though. I hate to say it because he's on the call, as he sort of proves to be the Vermina. Yeah, that's what Casual's saying in chat. Anyway, he proved to be the antithesis of Rex. So he's less about the talk, more about the action. But as soon as I say that, Rex obviously made no hesitation into running headlong into this battle, assuming he's making up for all the times he just sat on the bench. But that proved less than ideal, as he spent most of the time, or excuse me, more time on his back than Jinx does when he whips out his mage hand.
Yeah, so those are gonna be more fun now, Roman.
Yeah.
You can't tell because I have a cat filter on, but I'm glaring at you.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Not to worry about it, though. Cass was there to make up for the incompetency. But if I'm honest, his glory is kind of lessened by the fact that he uses a crossbow. It's like the Prius of fantasy weapons. I mean, yeah, it's dependable and efficient, but like, it's not very cool, you know? Sorry.
I mean, it's a crossbow of corpse slaying.
I mean, it's cool. I guess it's all right. But listen, you guys used it in a candlelight vigil, for Christ's sake. I mean, it's not that cool. So anyway, listen. In comparison to Orion's thing, his halberd, that's a cool weapon.
I am partial to halberds.
I mean, I just
pumpkins.
started. All right.
That's fair.
And the crossbow prop was much cheaper than the gun prop.
It's fair. Okay, all right. You gotta bring your cosplay game to Shawgal. We'll say that. Anyway, so they pretty much fought for 4 hours, and I needed a fresh coated deodorant and a nap. So that's what you're in for there if you want to go back and watch it. What else? Okay, on Realms. Well, Realms got a makeover this week, and it seemed to work out as they were able to get 100% more pussy this week.
I'm probably never going to be good at this because I'm always going to start laughing at stuff.
I'm pretty sure that HR approved that.
It did. I had to get it approved. Anyway, nobody tell Rex about it though, because that's his kink. But yeah, this was the introduction of Orion, the Leonin, that if you were worried how he'd fit into this group, well, he's got family and memory issues. So I think the word you're looking for there is perfectly.
Would
Anyway,
you
he's
say perfectly?
Oh, Jesus, no. I
Come
would not.
on.
Okay. No, I won't.
Oh, so I'm sorry. You can, yeah, whatever. Your joke was so much better.
All right, whatever. That's good.
Meow.
All right, so, but he's not. He's kind of the least of the worst because it's actually Kiwin who lands them in hot water because she gets arrested for casting magic, which is really unfair. It's not her fault that she's unable to read the posted signs. Her punishment should be enrolled into a local preschool. Could help everybody. But instead, they're just given the option to go kill some white cloak constructs. And Jesus Christ, this justice system may actually be more fucked up than ours, and that takes a concerted effort. I don't know how they
Thank
got
you.
off with that trait. Yeah. But obviously they take the deal and waste no time tracking down the mechanical threats. But as is true with everything Solo does, that is only the outermost layer of that onion, like that weird papery shit you toss in the garbage. So we'll get into that here in a little bit as to what they are actually fighting. And that's it. As far as that goes, how are you guys doing this week? I need a drink now.
Oh, do you?
Yes.
After those, yeah. I'm actually pretty good. I've been doing lots of productive things and investing in myself for the long term. Hashtag healthy life things.
Self-care is the best care.
Yes. And planning out future tattoos because everybody that I know is getting one and now I want one.
I did. It's kind of hard to see it. So this is phase 2. It's a dragon butt right now. It's just a dragon going into a door.
That looks like a
it
goose. It's a goose.
Oh no, it is not a goose.
Look
It's
at
not
it. It's a
Honker.
goose. Look at it. Right beneath the tail, that's a goose head. You see it now, don't you?
No. What I do see, actually, one thing that Noble pointed out is this is the same color scheme he uses for his logo.
Yeah,
So,
I do love
there's
that
some
you got an
trademark.
homage to him. Yeah.
There's a trademark issue with my tattoo. Whatever. It's free advertising. I don't even know why. I shaved my head. Got that done. I was tired of fooling with it. I don't know what else you guys been doing. I've been watching a lot of Demon Slayer this week. That's my son has started Demon Slayer, so I've been watching a lot of it. Second time through for me.
I think I
It's
spent
not honkers, April.
It's not honkers. It's totally honkers. I think this week I did like my rehab TV. So like after I watch a series that I'm super invested in and it ends, I go back and I just watch a series that's like an old faithful. And so like I finished WandaVision, cried my happy little eyes out all
Mhm.
over the place. And then I've been watching IT Crowd all week.
Yeah, we're on. We started up Schitt's Creek, which is just something to have again. I think we're on the third season already again. So
Oh wow.
it's such a good, fun little quick show though. Like I'm not a huge proponent of like.
Yeah, I
watching 3
actually
or
just
4
started
hour-long
watching that
episodes.
myself. I've never seen it before, and
It's so good.
it's fun that it's father and son. Like it's fun that
Yeah.
they're acting together and they're producing together, and he's
Well, and
the
the
facial
daughter's in it too.
reactions.
And daughter,
are-
yeah.
Yeah, the daughter's the waitress too. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's amazing.
I love it.
It's
And
cool.
it just ends up like, and I don't know. I love the journey of those people, honestly. I love how wholesome it is. I love the
Yeah.
representation without it having to be a negative. I love that it's a positive, like this is how it can be. Like just, I don't know. I love it for many, many
Mhm.
reasons. It's good stuff. And Dan Levy is just gold.
He is.
Unlike some people who refuse to wear sleeves. So, whatever.
Oh, I needed to actually. I completely
You're
forgot
like
about
copper.
the poll. Oh man. All right. Well, I'll do it next week. Listen. This week was pandemonium for the past hour because of the shit that we have been dealing with. Microphone broke. That was fun.
I mean, it was all right. We got through it. We got through it.
This is great. This is really throwing off my whole look here.
Does it? I mean, it only hides like maybe a quarter of your face, and that might be an improvement. You knew what happened
no,
when you brought me here.
I don't think so. It just makes me. It looks weird. I don't know. Whatever. So sorry about the audio. If it sucks, I have no idea how it sounds on the other end. So I apologize if it does. Hopefully,
I mean, it sounds just as bad as always, so it's fine.
perfect. But anyway, I'll order a new
Womp womp.
one. Actually, you know what? I might order one with the screen. Isn't that supposed to be helpful?
A screen?
It's
I don't
a
know,
pop
what-
filter. That's what it's called.
Pop filter. Yeah.
Oh.
It only makes me sound like I'm playing country or rock. No pop. What does it do? I have no idea what it does.
It helps negate plosives and other things.
Okay, whatever.
It makes
I promote
your
you.
hard sounds, especially when you're like me and have redneck teeth, it helps you not make really loud noises. Hey, I accept my fate. It's fine. I have large front teeth and I have a gap. I have owned it. It's fine. But
Okay.
it helps prevent those things, Ronan.
Okay, so I'll get one of those, and I need to get an arm up here somewhere because Diane hates seeing the microphone on the screen. That's what she told me. Not me personally. She just hates it in general.
She just she requests
All
like a
of the
whole
above.
like a screen in front of your face so she just doesn't have to look at you anymore.
Yeah, just whatever you can do to hide that would be fantastic.
Hey, that was great.
Shut up.
No?
Twitter. I want to shout this out because I have 22 awesome followers, 2 of which are robots. I'm on Twitter now, so follow me on there. You're on there now too, aren't you, Taryn?
I think I am, or I'm about to
technically?
be.
Yeah.
I don't check Twitter enough, guys. I'm trying.
Like me and April were talking about it the other day. Like I get it. Like I get it, whatever it is. I'm just not sure I like it yet. So we'll see how it goes. Whatever.
Crazy kids and your technology.
your tweety faces and your my pages. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about things coming up that are sort of on the horizon or things that are important to the Fableverse. Just real quick before we jump into the recaps. So just as a little teaser. Solo and I have made a sort of quasi commitment based on our schedules to meet once a week on a project that will not only entail the lore stuff, which we need to get back to, but also a new project that we'll talk about down the road. So just want to throw that out there as a teaser because I think it's pretty exciting. And also to kind of hold us both accountable because now it's on record. We have the community meeting this week, right? Somebody want to shout that time out? I have no idea.
We
what time
do at. Wait, you're saying? I was going to say, wait a second.
It's always
no,
three,
it's at
3 o'clock.
3.
It's always at
3
3
o'clock.
o'clock.
Renee was putting numbers on his little monitor thing, and it threw me
3
off.
3 for the West Coast. That would be 6 my time.
Yeah, apparently the only time that matters.
Yeah.
I'm
Anytime
not bitter.
anytime my wife asks what time something is on this network, I'm always like 3, 4, 5, 6. It happens at 6. So that'll be at 3 Pacific for our community meetup. This
Mhm.
is an AIM weekend, correct?
That is
As
correct.
well?
Yes.
All right. So we got AIM on Sunday, Adventures of Middle Earth on Sunday. So that's something to look forward to. And then we got FableCon coming up. So that's another thing to watch out for. So we got games and
We
all kinds of
do.
stuff to deal with that.
FabledCon is going to be super cool. We have actually I think new to the network DMing, we have D'Angelo and we have Eddie. Eddie's going to be DMing you guys, and then
That's awesome.
and of course I know we have the return of Fabled Femmes. I know we'll have like the regular shows running, so we'll have Realms, Wizards, and I know we have Legends. And then we have Fabled After Dark things, because I think there's a cyberpunk thing mentioned in there and a shonen.
There's a lot going on Friday too.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
several shows going on.
Yeah,
We got
there's-
Wizards next week. This
Mhm.
show is earlier. There's an earlier start time next week for the show. I believe
Yeah.
I have no idea what time it is. 2:30.
Something like that. And I
We'll
know
get-
we have
we'll get it
another
out.
POC game, and then there's this other little game happening that I'm a little fond of, where I get to scare the pants off of people, but it's fun.
Sure.
Yeah.
We have an official schedule out for that yet?
We will be releasing it tomorrow, hopefully.
Perfect. See, look at that. Gosh.
Yeah, so we'll have better details tomorrow. That's
Fortunate.
another reason everyone should go to the meeting if they can. Yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Ronan?
I'll probably be there. Saturday's my grocery shopping day. That's where I find solace. Okay. So let's get into the show a little bit. We got a great one for you guys tonight. In preparation for tonight's Moonlander premiere of Wizards, we have 3 very special guests. We'll be doing 3. I should probably talk about that real fast, but we got 3 guests. We're going to do a little different. We're going to do some one-on-ones, and then we're going to get together to do a group interview. So the first up is going to be Mr. Rene Beauregard. He plays Khalees on Wizards, and then he's also the newest member of Realms. He's the aforementioned Orion. Then we have Lindsay Rousseau, and she plays Olive Ram. Is that right? Olive Ram? Olo on Wizards, and Mata on Legends of Shao-Gal. And then finally we have the Alicia Marie, and she played Astra on Wizards, and Tipper on Vault 42. But before we do all that, as we all know, the Fable 42 campaigns are all about the choices that were made. So let's start running the recap and see how they did. And now, another change, we'll be doing the Wizards of Ukador. We'll be recapping them as well. So we're on episode 1 of this season 3. It's called Aftermath, and this will be part 1 of that. So welcome back to Vinrune College and the fallout from the absolute calamity that was the Ascension. We pick up at the start of season 3 with House Silverthorn as they recover from all of their recent events, including the death of Astra and Rook, and the fact that Ebdar is no longer there. We start just after Kai dropped off a letter to Kizana from Astra, a letter that she had been holding on to since before the ceremonies. It was a letter that had actually foreshadowed her untimely death, a prophetic message, as Kai also brought word of Astra's fate. Kizana seeks out friends and fellow Silverthorn Lily. Together they mourn not only the loss of Astra, but that of Lily's love, Rook, who had also suffered a tragic death during the Ascension. Following this, Kizana will continue to stay by the side of her instructor, Eltora, who is still in what's called dragon sleep, which is akin to a coma, after barely being managed to be able to be revived. So I told you it was calamity. Speaking of, Ebdar and Crixie are still unaccounted for as the group talks about what happened and what happens next. Golok, an often overlooked orc, offered his help to those around, including Othello, Chorus, and the others. even going to get them food, as all were obviously quite famished by this point. As they rest, and get a bite to eat, Marduk returns to give a speech to the school. He's attempting to ease tension and is trying to unite the houses, realizing that this threat is actually far from over. And in this vein, he also uses this as an opportunity to introduce Viago, or a Kyath barbarian, Biero, sure, half-elf fighter, and Nestro, the tiefling warlock, who are trusted within the school to provide this sort of muscle. The reason for this is that even with Ubrax and Trevanus sort of seemingly gone, they have been left in a weakened state, and there is word that the Hesians are starting to show a growing interest in assaulting the school. The threat will become more real after it is learned that the Hesians are in fact a lot closer than anticipated, a mere 5 miles from the grounds. It is surmised that perhaps a certain Goliath wizard has probably told the Empire where the school was. It is at this point that it is decided to plane shift the school earlier than expected. This is not the plan or what they had prepared for, but their hand was forced. As the Empire closed in, every able body within the school pulled together and managed to accomplish the amazing arcane feat. However, it did not go off without a hitch, as the school arrived in an unknown location. After a rest, the next day they sent out Silverthorn students to help, with the help of Nestro, to scout and find out where they were and to gather any helpful information. After getting used to the frigid, snowy weather, the wizards ventured down the mountain, where they found a group of dwarves fighting some gross-ass looking trolls. Being the Silverthorns that they are, they jumped right into the fight to help the dwarves. After the fight ended, they conversed with the dwarves and found out that they were in a place called Greyhawk. And with this new information, House Silverthorn returned to the school to pass on the newly acquired info. So that's where we are with wizards. Again, is this Solo? Is this Aftermath? Is it like the Ascension? Is it happen simultaneously?
Correct.
Good question.
Okay. Huh?
So
That's I was gonna ask the same thing, honestly.
yeah, so the way that the season looks, and the cast has seen the schedule, so there's anything that's in blocks will happen simultaneously. So sometimes it'll be 3 episodes, sometimes it'll be 2, and sometimes it's just 1 episode, and there are different time jumps with that, and there's reasons for all that.
So the one tonight, is it in sync with this one?
All House episodes will always be in sync.
Gotcha. Okay. So this will be happening simultaneously with the other one. So let's see how Moonlander reacts to this situation.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, Moonlander's got a lot of other things to deal with as well.
Yeah, they have a lot to deal with, like the joke you keep making about someone.
Yeah. Oh, well.
Ryan
Yep. Too bad.
sneezing
Okay.
out. Yeah. Oh.
Whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. I got to ask her about that. Okay. So anyway, next up, Vault 42. We are on episode 15. Pawn. Naming an episode after yourself. I think I could start doing that.
That's the most Ronin thing I've ever heard.
Huh? I think so. Every episode here on out is just called Ronin. Anyway, we pick up mid battle as the group continues to fight with the raiders of Robco. By this point, Clay has fought his way upstairs, where the raiders were firing down from above, and he interrupts their plans by pushing 2 of them over the railing. Tipper saves herself from the overhead fire by using her barrier shield. Good that it was able to offer protection, but bad that Ash was able to see this occur. Meanwhile, Cash, that tiny robot created by Tipper to resemble Ash, opens fire on the raiders below as well. During the chaos, a Protectron had been activated with the medic protocol. Because of this, it begins to revive fallen armadillos. Not good. Not to worry, however, as Ash, who was continuing to smash raiders, then becomes enraged by the Protectron and starts to assault the help bot. Pawn, who up until this point had been knocked unconscious by the iBot upstairs, gets revived by Andy, the captive from Klondike that Pawn had previously been giving a pep talk to. Once up and alert, Pawn then starts his baseball practice with his bat Lucille, eventually heading upstairs to join Clay. Meanwhile, outside, Marcus and Rita do blow up that Assaultron to high heavens with the bag that had been spilled over from Rita. Turned out to be a lifesaver. From there, they'll eventually make their way inside to join the fight. It's about this time that Clay almost blows everyone up by trying to take out Bob Killer Kelso's power core from his power armor. Luckily, he only dislodges it and damages the nuclear battery, causing the suit to power down. Adding insult to injury, Clay then kicks the Kelso's only weapon off the ledge. Clay tries to confront and intimidate the Raider leader by revealing his true ghoulish face. However, this hardened criminal does not seem to bat an eye. Tipper's the next to head upstairs, and using her not a robot jumping capability, she does a people's elbow to the iBot, and that Pawn had just run over to attack. He's not mad at Tipper's efforts. On the contrary, seems quite impressed. Marcus will eventually make it inside, getting off a few shots. However, he will eventually become less useful as the jet he had taken at the start of the fight has started to wear off, causing him to become very lethargic. Rita makes her grand entrance by nearly blowing up Clay and Kelso, but luckily she hesitates and decides to run upstairs to take a few shots at the Raider boss instead. Clay will manage to take out Kelso, denying Rita the satisfaction. All the while, Ash throws cash at the remaining Protectron and blows the two bots to pieces. With the fight now over, Pawn and Clay will check on the survivors, after Clay loots the boss, of course. And this is where things get a little hairy, as Ash, who had witnessed some very odd things, confronts Tipper about what she is. Tipper tries to change the subject and asks Marcus for advice before deciding it's time. Tipper tells Ash what everyone else already knew and tries to explain it by saying everyone's technically a robot in one shape or form. Yeah, sure. I could see that, right? Kinda. Anyway.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Stretch.
I mean, you look like one today. Continue.
I hate everything about this. I'm ordering a mic. Ash doesn't want to hear it. Whatever she's got to say. Storms off. Once at the captives, Clay finds Harry the butcher and gives him a scarf to give to Petra. But then he finds out that Petra had been there shortly before their arrival, but had only managed to escape with a raider named Tom just a few hours earlier. You'll remember Tom from Petra's dreams. Pawn will help heal the wounded and snacks on some sugar bombs while he watches the drama of those who help save him. A sentiment I think we can all share. Once Ash storms off, she heads towards the front doors. Clay and Pawn intercept her before she makes it outdoors and is inevitably shredded by the turrets, which were still active. As part of this persuasion, Clay will reveal himself to Ash, showing that everyone is different and that you can't judge an individual based on the past misdeeds of others, and this seemed to work. Back upstairs, Tipper's distraught over Ash's reaction. She wants to stop her from doing something stupid, and this will lead her to do something stupid as Marcus is forced to save Tipper as she tries to fling herself out the window to save Ash. Yeah. Once everything's kind of settled down a bit, though, Pawn proves that Ash isn't the only barbarian that can hack into a computer, but he can't seem to manage to find the turret power controls, so they are kind of a bit stuck for the moment. But luck would turn out because Tipper and Marcus hear some barking from a locked metal room. And after some hacking the terminal, the room reveals the Raider stash, control remotes for the turrets, and a friendly guard dog. So, yeah. Our group is on the brink of collapse, and they all sort of don't trust and or hate each other. But, they got a dog, so all's well that ends.
It could be worse. They have a puppy, and they have a roof, and apparently a lot of supplies and stuff.
Listen, if anything life has taught me, like, relationships can be saved by adding a small one in the mix. Like,
is that how that works?
I think so. I watch a lot of Springer. I think that's how it works. Anyway.
Womp.
Yeah, it's gonna be a nightmare. Thanks, Renee, for looking up for your phone just to shun me. All right, whatever. Next up is Shoggoth. We are on episode 18, and it is Frozen Still.
I am paying attention.
Yeah, no, there's no tricks. Just the facts. Just the facts. We pick up this week as the legends are taking a short rest with the help of Weesage's
oh my god,
yeah. Igloo powers. I know, I'm getting good. From there, once they are prepared, they all continue deeper into the glacier, entering the heart chamber. They immediately notice a large corrupted crystal orb in the center of the room, raised up on a natural platform, and a river in the back of the cave. Rex naturally quickly approaches the crystal, and for his troubles got hit with a chill touch and then surrounded by magical darkness. The legends jump into action while Rex casts Sacred Flame on Vamina, the corrupted elemental lady. That only he can see due to his face sight. So he uses his flame trying to create some sort of beacon so that the others could try and land some of their attacks.
It went well.
Certainly did. Meanwhile, Cass hears some ice breaking and undead moaning coming from the cave, so he positions himself so that he can see the cave and keep an eye on the darkness. Daffodil tethers herself and Ratcliffe to Vamina with a witch bolt, while Oscar goes into the darkness to stay near Rex. Mata, and eventually Jinx take up a defensive position near the water to attack any undead that come out. The battle continues in this manner. Eventually, they finish off the undead, leaving just Vamina and a separate water elemental. Cass lands the killing blow on Vamina eventually, as she seemingly is trying to make her escape. With her gone, Rex will lead the group in the cleansing ritual, with everyone contributing something. Cass will go last, and he touches the crystal after telling Jinx and Rex to stay close to each other. Bit of a miscalculation, though, as he gets pushed back, falling from the blast off of that crystal. And during this blast, he's sort of mentally transported to somewhere else, where he speaks with his and Jinx's old dwarf friend. And through some like cryptic conversations after that, and a bright light, we learn that Cass has taken a deal with someone or something. I don't know. So we'll have to see what happens there. And then he's returned back to life. Following this, Weesage once again appears, looking much better than she did previously, thanking the legends for helping cleanse the corruption. And with the disease gone, the crystal is now shimmering blue. But it's not all rainbows and glitter, as not every member was so lucky in the fight. Turns out that Ratcliffe had fallen during the battle, and the episode sort of ends with the legends consoling Daffodil for her loss.
Man, Liz's expressions always get me when she's feeling it. I'm like, no.
Yeah, it's really good. And you guys still technically aren't done, right? I mean, you didn't get the thing from.
Yeah, we
get
haven't.
the thing from
Yeah.
But
everybody apparently is becoming a warlock, maybe? I don't know what's happening anymore.
I mean, everybody's got a little dip their little toe.
Stares and suspicious at Solo. Yeah, Jinx and Cass need to have a talk.
What the hell did I do?
Yeah, because I mean, you should look no further than your boyfriend if you want to talk about some weird issues with powerful deities. All right. Anyway, okay. So last but not least, we have the realms of Riddle. Chapter 26, Through New Eyes. So we pick up this week mid-swing as Orion decks Carrick in the face during a tavern brawl. Not having any of that nonsense, though, Keywin will successfully cast Calm Emotions on the room. It has the desired effect as everyone begins to apologize, and Orion sits down and introduces himself to the Dawnbreakers. I'm going to keep saying it until it sticks. After some conversation, a group of Dynasty Guards will arrive to escort Keywin to the keep for breaking a law of unlicensed magic use. The party argues, having not known about the law previously, but eventually agreed to go with the guards. Upon arriving at the keep, they were introduced to Lady Keisudi?
That was right.
All right, Keisudi.
So you got that right, but you got the chapter number wrong. So that's fine.
What chapter is it?
28.
That's exactly what I said. You just misheard me.
Yeah, I just misheard you.
It's my accent. All right. Anyway, who informed the Dawnbreakers? This lady Keisudi informed the Dawnbreakers of the laws that they had broke. Kai tried to name drop the queen, but Lady Keisudi reminded Kai that in fact those laws that they had just broken were the queen's. So no go there. Instead of a trial outright, the group was given a choice. They could either stay for that fair trial or agree to help the dynasty with some of the local issues that they've been having. The group discussed and finally agreed to take the job. Upon doing so, they were told that this job had to do with the White Cloaks, and that immediately piqued their interest. So with their ears perked, they all took in all the intel that she had to give. During the conversation, Lady Keisudi spoke about the event at the turn of the century, 1882, and upon hearing this, Orion's face went pale. The date he recalled it being was actually 878. I think I said 882. He thought it was 878. So what the hell happened to the last 3 years? With the task given and Orion's confusion, the group returned to the tavern to process all of this new information. They decided to take a rest before heading out the next day. The following morning, they ventured out into the approximate location of the mercenary camp they were quested with clearing. Climbing the hill, the group found 2-toed foot tracks and creatures in the ruins above that matched the construct mercenaries they were told of. Fighting ensued, and the group seemed to have everything under control. That is, until a white-bearded mage appeared, dropping a meteor storm on the party, knocking several members unconscious. Quickly, they were able to recover as the mage began to cast another high-level spell with Orion using his Rosarium Halberd, the thing I was mentioning about earlier. He sliced into the mage and counterspelled the attack. That is a real weapon. And with some well-placed attacks from Carrick, Kai was given a perfect moment to finish the mage off, burning his face off with a lightning attack. And we end with Keywin preparing to speak with the melted-faced mage. So that'll be super gross.
No, that'll be fine. I mean,
yeah.
we all know in Solo's world it'll just be perfectly fine and not messed up.
Yeah, just gotta scoop it up to form a mouth. That's really gross. Okay, so I just gross myself out. Okay, so that's it. You guys are all officially caught up on the latest from the Fableverse campaigns. It's a good time to go ahead and we'll take a little break, grab some water. So give us about 10 minutes and we'll be back with our first guest, Renee.
Yay! I get it.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm here with my first guest, Renee.
Hello.
What's up? He
Oh, my buddy.
plays Khalees on Wizards, and he plays Orion on Realms of Ukador. You want to go ahead and tell everybody where they can find you and all your ads and things?
Yeah, absolutely. You can find me on Instagram at Dragon Rock RPG Design and on Twitter and Facebook at Dragon Rock RPG, where we make 5e supplements like races, subclasses, magic items, you name it, we'll make it up for you. Hit us up if you want a commission or if you're interested in seeing what we do. You can also find our first foray into self-publishing on DM's Guild by searching Icons of Horror, where you can make yourself into an iconic horror movie villain such as Michael Myers, Freddy Krueger, Candyman, you name it, it's in there, and you should check it out. It's free to download, pay what you want. So if you don't have the money to support us, we appreciate you downloading it and leaving us a rating and review and letting us know what you think.
Perfect. And we'll get into. I got a couple questions about that too. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say including bunny folk.
Yes, we have made a Rabbit Folk, which is ironically like really close to the new UA that's been released. Like, and the thing is, like, and my wife will attest to this, that rabbit race that we've made was made like a year ago, and so that was like in place and ready to go, and then they came out with their Rabbit Folk, and I was like, that's really interesting that we like pretty much got it almost exactly the same. So yeah,
As soon as I saw that, I sent that to Solo because I was like, look, they made a fairy race because we were just talking about it.
yeah.
But yeah, all right, cool. So welcome to Fox Talks. This is your first
thank
time
you.
on the show. So
Happy to
how's it
be
going?
here.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Fox Talk
Uh,
starring Taryn. Yeah,
Wait,
go
does
ahead.
that mean that someone's actually watching our shows?
I think so.
If they're stealing our stuff? Cool.
Yeah, somebody somewhere out there. Okay, so first question to all the guests is kind of just an expanded introductory. So just it's really just for me. I want to get to know everybody. So tell me about your history with tabletop RPGs, sort of how you came to the network. What's your origin story?
All right. My origin story is that I started playing D&D in 2013, 2014 when 5e was in its infancy and was about to come out. I was playing 3.5 with a bunch of people. I will tell you that it was like the traditional setup for a D&D group where it was like me and 5 other, nerds, nerd guys, man children is really what it was. And, who it was a boys club. There wasn't really much else other than that. And everyone was trying to compete with each other, trying to, measure their nerdy selves against each other.
Yep.
Yeah. So I picked that up, and then 5e came out, and I was really excited about playing a new system because I didn't really jive with 3.5 as much. Like I felt it was like really crunchy. So when 5e came out and it was like really simplified and interesting to kind of dive into new things, I was super excited to pick it up. And then eventually at some point what would happen with our group was that people kept shifting DM roles all the time. Like there wasn't a persistent campaign. We were like constantly playing somebody's one shot that might lead into something, and I hated every minute of it. So what I did was I was like, cool, like I'm gonna play like every other week with you guys, and then I started like making my own stuff. Because I was also watching Critical Role at the time, so I was like like making my own world and like something that people can dig in and create and change. I thought was really cool. So I started talking to my friends and being like, "Are you interested in playing D&D?" And I was working at the Apple Store at the time, so I
Mhm.
was like, I took a whole bunch of my work friends and brought them over, and we played D&D for the first time. I ran them through the Lost Mines of Phandelver, which I would recommend to every DM to
$100%.
start your players in the Lost Mines of Phandelver. That or Dragon Heist. Those two are like the prime starting adventures for any first time DM.
Mhm.
I think they're perfect, and I would advise everyone to play them because they're fun as well.
They are.
And so I brought all of them together with my sister, who was living with me at the time, and it was a great time. We had a lot of fun. They came together. They named themselves. They called themselves excuse me, the Forge of Reckoning, and then we
Oh,
just called them
dope.
like, yeah, we just called them the Forge at the end of it all. I actually my wife not too long ago made a poster for the campaign,
Yeah.
and they even had their own catchphrase. It was "to the hilt," which was like it was
Dope.
essentially like the perfect campaign, and the perfect group, and they went along with everything, and they had a lot of fun. They bought me my own set of artisan dice, which I'm not sure if you're familiar with artisan dice, Ronan, but they make wood, specifically wood dice,
Ooh, yeah.
of like, you
Mhm.
know, exotic and very special trees and stuff
Mhm.
like that. The beautiful stuff, like, made me cry on my birthday. It was
Sure.
awesome. I loved every minute of it. Um, so up until then, they were the group that I played with, and then eventually, like, I found my way to online tabletop playing. For like 4 years, I played with the same group of people on Roll 20, and
Yeah.
and we went, we went through one DM, and then he dipped out like out of nowhere, and then we're all like, well, I guess there's no session, but we still want to play. So then we kept playing together and just kept going and going and going. They're the first group that I ever played with where I completed a whole campaign. Like we ran
Yeah.
through Out of the Abyss and got from the start to the finish. And I was
Oh,
like,
wow.
awesome.
That's insane.
It is insane because you rarely ever do that.
I don't think I
Yeah.
have. Like,
I-
I'm sitting here thinking I wanted a comparison. I don't think I have.
and it was really cool, and it was really rewarding because we all put our effort and time into wanting to be a part of this. And then eventually, at one point or another, a friend of mine, um, Josh Blake, who was playing on, was it Origins solo?
Yeah,
I think it
so.
was Origins that Josh was playing. Was DMing a
That's
game.
NPC voices, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. There.
Yeah. Josh was DMing a game for Gen Con for Fabled 42. He was running the Deadlands game. And he got a hold of me because he'd been dying to play a game with me because
Mhm.
we'd been talking back and forth. And so he offered me a spot at the table, and I was like, sure, like, I'd love to play with you. And he's like, it's a whole new system, you'll have to learn it. I'm like, great, show me the
right.
book, and I'll step up. And sure enough, I did, and I got to play my my card shark warlock kind of character, Finn, and that was really fun.
Yeah,
And
good.
that was my first foray with Fabled 42. And so that was when I started becoming part of the fam. And so then I was sitting in the Discord, chatting back and forth and doing stuff. And one of the things that I'd started doing with my Saturday group when I was still playing with them was every time one of our DMs couldn't make it for one reason or another, we actually had two members of the military services. So we had one Canadian forces and one naval, like American naval force member. So there'd be times where they're just not available to be here.
Sure.
So what we would do when they were DMing and they weren't available, I would go, okay, everybody make a level 20 character, and we're just going to fight. And that was the birthplace of the Mythical Melee.
Sure.
And so eventually, at one point, after doing that a couple times, I was like, man, that could really be a show. Like people would love to sit around and watch PvP Dungeons and Dragons, because that's not something that's happening right now. And so that's the second that I had the idea. I pitched it to one network, and they were like, "We just started a whole bunch of new programming. We don't think it'll fit in what we're doing right now." And then I was like, "Cool, thanks. I'll take it to somewhere else." And I immediately spun it around to Solo, and I'm like, "Hey, I have this idea. What do you think?" He goes, "Oh no, we're doing that, and we're doing it now." And
Yeah.
he's like, we'll do a whole bunch of like, what do you think about like 16 people? Well, and I was like, cool, like 4 people on a day for 4 days, no problem. He goes, okay, what about 20 people? And I'm like, oh, okay, so 4 people over 5 days. And he goes, do you think we could do any more? And I'm like, the only people holding us back are ourselves. And he's like 25 people, 5 people,
So
5 days.
That's that. If I don't think I've ever heard a sentence that's more revealing about the nature of Solo.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, I was the harbinger of my own doom, in allowing 25 people to play level 20 characters and then, have to adjudicate all of them. Shout out to Daniel Lieberman, my partner in crime, and my partner in Dragon Rock RPG design, for literally being for the beginning stage of things. When I was the dungeon referee, they called me the endless bag of info. And the real honest to God truth was like, I would say things and like give rulings, and then my phone would vibrate and I'd look down and it's Daniel being like, no, dear, it's like this. And then I'd be like, excuse me, so let's point of order, correction. And then I would fix what my ruling was, because I needed to, stick to the rules. So Daniel kept me in line for that, as well as a couple of other people who would remind me certain things here and there. But that was my first thing that I did with Fabled 42, was running the Mythical Melee, and doing this giant tournament event. And then eventually at some point, it got to, well, we're gonna do the finals at Ukador Con. And then Chris was like, cool, like, why don't you join a game for Ukador Con, so that's like, it's not just you doing the finals for Mythical Melee, but like you're doing other things, you're doing something else, and so you can be a part of everything. Turned out that I was just like one whole day on Fabled 42.
I remember
that was ridiculous.
Well, and it's really funny that, like, honestly, like you said, Mythical Melee is like the first thing you're doing with Fabled. So like one of the first streams that I watched live of Fabled was Mythical Melee, and I was like, this dude knows all of this shit. What is this? Like,
I should thank you for your introduction, because it was my introduction. Like, that's how I started, was as a contestant.
Exactly. And I think Solo like had asked me, he's like, he just look through the Discord and tell me who you want. And I literally combed through everyone who was a cast member and went, I want this person, I want this person, I want this person, I want this person. And then there were people who were like on their way out, so to speak, or who were moving on to do other things. And he was like, cool, I need 5 more names. And I was like, cool, I just like start rhyming off who all like was available. And then we had one person drop, and then I brought someone else in, and then that person had to drop. So then I had to bring Pond Plays in to fill that role. And it was just a series of changing like names and people and stuff like that. And it was just ridiculous. But at the end of the day, Mythical Melee was one of the things that I like am most thankful for, because it was a hell of a lot of fun. It was crazy to like try and figure out all the rules, like to remember all the rules of certain spells and like certain actions and things like that. So I had a great time. And like honestly, it was like being my debut of like doing anything for Fabled on a consistent basis, like semi-consistent basis. For me, it was always being in the headspace of like, cool, we're gonna get ready to do this for like the next 4 hours. And then we had 2 games that went over 6, and I was like,
I will say, again, as somebody new to the network at the time, I was like getting a crash course in every single person in the network, like their play style.
That's
and
true.
I was like,
Yeah, that's
noted,
100% true.
check, noted.
Yeah.
Okay.
No one got a preview of my play style, because I was only in the Mythical Melee.
You died in like 2 seconds. Yeah. That was,
it was so much fun to watch and be a part of. And then having the idea of like, well, maybe this whole thing was more ingrained in Ukador lore than it
Mhm.
really was. And then I pitched it to Solo that like everyone who's died in the melee has had their soul absorbed, and then at the end we tear open the grounds and then we send everyone to hell, where they then realize that this has all been a front for more souls. And
Sure.
that was the whole thing. And Solo was like, I love it, let's keep going. And so then that's where the devil mask came into play. And all that was a whole hell of a lot of fun to get into.
Sure.
And I thank Mr. Solo for just jumping on my idea, although that is his way of just jumping on an idea.
Sure.
I mean, it led to something great. There will likely be more mythical melees down the line, because they're fun and they're exciting and they're a great way for us to just get together. And you know what? Sometimes you just need to fight your friends.
Yeah.
That's right.
Well,
And that has led you to
I was about to say, and
Ryan.
speaking of Ukador, like now you're getting to jump in on like the real flagship campaign.
This is the real flagship
I
show.
thought I was on the flagship show right
Yeah,
now.
it is 100% the flagship.
I mean, I thought that too, and then I got here, so
She saw how professional it was. I was like, whoa, this is no, shut up. All right. Anyway, so
But yeah.
okay, so we got little hints about Orion, but non-spoilery. What can you tell us about him? What's going on with this new character?
Well, I mean, there's a lot, as you can tell.
Sure.
There's a lot going on. So Orion is a Leonin barbarian. This barbarian is a creation of Dragon Rock RPG Design. So this is the Path of the Warbound barbarian. So this is
Okay.
your more martial-based barbarian. So these barbarians have fighting styles as part of their third level feature, which is where you
Oh.
normally get like what your specialty about rage is. So at third level, you get a fighting style. We pared down a bunch of the fighting styles that you get from fighter. So I think we went with ultimately, I think it was great weapon fighting, dual 2-weapon fighting, unarmed fighting from the Tashas, as well as thrown weapon fighting. And then I think
So
there was
no
one-
defensive stuff.
yeah, no defensive stuff, because it's supposed to be that front line sort of situation.
Hmm.
I think we might have had protection. I doubt it, but we might have had protection. The great thing about these barbarians is that while raging, you get an additional add-on to your fighting style. So I missed this part about Orion because I was so nervous and excited to be
Sure.
on Realms for the first episode. But the key off for Orion's great weapon fighting is that his ability while raging is that you can forego one of your attacks to make a sweep attack that hits everything within reach of your
Okay.
weapon. And so having a halberd, anything within 10 feet of me gets hit. They make a dex save or they take the damage, and if they fail, they get knocked prone, which is the part that I missed. So it's like a really cool expansion of the fighting styles for barbarians only, and you only gain those bonuses once to the fighting style you take when you started off. So the other thing I missed was he has an ability called Domineer, where if I take something out and reduce something to 0 hit points, everything within 30 feet needs to make a wisdom saving throw or become frightened.
Dope. That's cool.
So
well, and I have a special soft spot in my heart for barbarians, so I love the idea of that a lot.
And cats.
yeah,
Yeah, I
cats.
know.
Cats
It's a
too.
cat and a barbarian.
Yeah.
Like,
So
I'm here.
Orion comes from a long line of very strong and combative Leonin, who are raised to be hunters, and to make sure that there is no danger surrounding the Pride. So the Pride is essentially the effective replacement name for like tribe or
Mhm.
whatever, because that doesn't really me personally, as someone who is not a person of color, specifically not an indigenous person of color, I don't feel comfortable using the word tribe because
Sure.
I don't know what that means as a whole. So I use the word pride because of Pride of Lions, and that makes
Sure.
sense to me.
Sure.
So in the pride, you have the hunting party. Who will go out and scout and make sure that everything's safe, make sure they get clear of all the area. And then you have everyone who takes care of things at home, which is usually the young. So they make sure the tents are pitched, they make sure the fire's hot, they make sure that everything that is killed for food is like cleaned and well taken care of. As well as they are taught, how to hunt, so that when someone gets old or gets hurt, you just pull somebody out and add the next person into the hunting party, so that
Sure.
everybody can, it's like it's very, what's the word I'm looking for, self-efficient is really what it is. It feeds itself. And so one of the things that I touched on in Realms in this past episode was that the Leonin of his pride don't go into urban areas because they maintain for themselves until they realize that, well, we can't do that specifically, so we'll go in, we'll get it, and then we'll come back out, and then we'll stay away for however long we need. But I talked about how Orion has a kid with another Leonin named Rhodey, and Rhodey and him were a young couple in love, and there were there are things that happen when you're a young couple in love and you know nothing about how things work, and then a baby comes along. So now, and he has his young daughter Artemis, and who is training to become part of the member of the hunting party, which I'm looking forward to. So yeah.
What's first impressions that he would have of the not the Good Buddies, I'm not saying it, the
Dawnbreakers,
yes.
Which is a great name, by the way. Thank you very much, Chills and Noble. That was all you guys.
Much better.
So I'll tell you this. Kiwin is the light of his eyes right now because he's like, oh, someone
so
really
easy. Yeah.
like, because she's so easily wants to get along with everybody. She's everybody's best friend. She wants you to be like, she literally wants to hold your hand, and that's great. And she's not judgmental of him in the same ways that like Carrick and Eclipse are. Kyriel seems very interesting because she's inquisitive about him and what's been going on with him. And
I think she'd be the hardest to read.
She is, because like she doesn't give you one way or the other.
Right.
She just kind of feels like a neutral ground.
Exactly. Yeah. She's the sweet party member.
Yeah, Nafako has now confused him because like there was a change of voice, a change of eye color, and so he's like compartmentalizing that at this moment. But other than that, he has no reason not to trust her or think anything otherwise. But like he's not sure what's going on. But with like
valid.
Carrick, he sees Carrick as an equal in the way where like Orion doesn't challenge people he thinks that he can beat. That's the difference between him and most other people, is that like he challenges people who he knows he's going to be on like a level playing field with, right? So, because the challenge is what's important. If you don't learn something from it, why bother? Like if I could wipe him out, like wipe the floor with him, then like it's not fun. But he does. There was a moment in the conversation the lady of the town, where Orion was talking about what he saw and what he felt, going after the task instead of going to trial. And then Carrick was just like, cool, thanks, we got it. And I was just like,
Yeah.
oh, that's the part where I stopped talking, and I because I'm not a part of the group, and I went,
Right.
cool, thanks, and I went like, I'm gonna be over here. And it was just like, he realized that like he's so used to being part of a group that when
Right.
he realized he wasn't part of the group, it was like, okay, right, you're
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
But Eclipse, that's an interesting story because like I called him a house cat, because he's smaller,
Yes.
and because all of my people are just a little bulkier, they've got more to them, but Eclipse does
I
have that
mean,
air of mystery to him, which is
Ye-
nice and interesting
It's
to
but I think it's
you
gonna
did make that little flirty line out there. I wanted to call attention to that because as a viewer, I was like, "Oh hey, look at that
Uh-huh.
spicy cat."
Yeah, no, he sees things and feels things. That
That's right.
I don't want to give away too much already.
Sure.
No, don't
No,
do that.
yeah,
But
one
I
episode
just
in.
but
it
like,
was
No,
yeah.
I think it's good. I think that's going to be a very interesting dynamic. I mean, because even from the sort of idea of what you were saying before of like wild versus domesticated, almost
Yeah,
viewing
yeah.
him as a domesticated sort of feline it's going to be
Yeah,
interesting.
somebody who keeps his coat clean, even
Yeah.
though the irony being that Eclipse specifically doesn't. Like Eclipse
Right.
has like
Right.
added fur and things
Yes.
like
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Very cool.
pretty
So
kitty.
have you ever? I mean, for me, I can actually speak to this because like 2 weeks before you were on there, I was. But like, have you ever come into an established campaign? Like, what? How was that for you?
Wow. Yeah. So the Saturday group that I was telling you about earlier, we did. It was my introduction to that group was because they were looking to fill spots that
Mm,
people who had either ghosted or needed to go do things because of life.
sure.
So yeah, no, I've come into an established campaign before, and it really depends on your stride and like how you want to approach things. So my recommendation for anybody who's coming into a group for the first time and there's like already a dynamic kind of established, allow yourself to like it all depends on the character you're playing, really, because if you're playing in a character like Eclipse who's kind of like guarded and doesn't have like that openness to trust, then it's hard to allow the group to get to know you in
Yeah. Right.
that way, which is why like when I approach solo with my character idea, I this character was not on the list. On like, 'cause I brought him 3 characters that I'd played before, and that in the back of my head I knew every angle of. I knew how I would
Sure.
play, I knew how they would add to the group, and I knew every way they would slip in and how I would talk to each of the characters. But then upon further discussion, specifically the races of the characters that I was planning on playing solo was like, those don't exist in Hylac, and in fact they would
Oh,
have a
right.
really bad time in Hylac. And I was like, cool, let's figure out something else. And I said, you know what, really, maybe they need a front line. They really could use a frontliner who's like right up in there
Yeah.
and can handle it. So maybe like the original idea, I was going to come with a ranger, and then I kind of shifted into that barbarian position. I was like, no, this is really what I want to do. And I knew when I was bringing the barbarian that damage output, that DPS was like really important
Sure.
for this group. And I had a feeling that bringing a Leonin, because the 2 discussions we were having, Solo and I, was either doing a Cerator, which is Solo's like hella bull version of a Minotaur,
Yeah.
or the Leonin. And I kind of like went back and forth with it, and I was like, no, the Leonin sounds like really interesting to play. So I was like, I paced out like what kind of character he was, and like then I like pictured in my head like what he looked like. And then when I was describing him, and I was like, Solo was like, no, you need to put together your Hero Forge mini so that like we can get that stuff sorted out real quick. And I'm like, cool, no problem. And then I looked at the pants options, and I went, I'm gonna put him in a kilt. That's what feels right. That's what feels right. And so that's Solo is showing you the mini there.
Oh yeah, that's awesome.
It looks hella dope. So I put him in the kilt because I was like, cool, that'll be fun. And then I've been talking back and forth with Solo and Lizzie, and was like, I don't have the voice for the character. And then both of them were like, just lean into your costume choice, like lean into what you've done. And I was like, no, I can do that. That's all right. That's a voice I have.
Okay, and see right there though, I'm not gonna lie. Like I saw the art and I was like, ooh, hype. And then I was like, ooh, it's a barbarian. And then I heard you speak, and I just gotta like, I mean, as someone with Scottish heritage, and now you're making a Scottish cat barbarian, I was just like, what the hell is Renee doing? How can I be bitter? Like, how am I supposed to keep this rivalry going if you're making characters I like?
Well, that'll be the one character that you like, so that you can hate me the rest of the time.
I don't hate Khalees either, but
I love the voice. I wish I had range like that. Okay, so real quick, just I want to touch on Dragon Rock a little bit. Somebody had asked, I think it was Ferrix had asked about your sort of homebrew creating process. I know you have a writing partner. Just tell us a little bit about how you guys work.
Yeah. So Daniel's in the chat right now. So if anybody else in the chat has questions for Dragon Rock, you please put them in the chat. Daniel will happily answer them for you. But for our process specifically, the way it works is this: we look at D&D as a vast world of opportunities and options. So there are certain tropes or characters that we're familiar with in popular media where you could go, oh, well, that person's an Eldritch Knight, a Scout Rogue, and whatever other subclass, right? And you can kind of piece together what they are. And the thing for us is we look at that and go, well, you could do it that way, or you could have something specifically designed for what they do instead of having to piecemeal everything, because a lot of what we find in multi-classing is that you lose out on a lot of the important features of certain classes. So the way that we approach it is, what's the niche that we're missing? So for example, we have a warlock called the Aberrant, and you have the Fiend, the Great Old One, the Fathomless, the Archfey, or sorry, it's the Archfey, and several other warlocks that really hit specific notes and niches, and at the same time they're also very broad, and that's one of the hardest classes to subclass for or make subclasses for, because everything is kind of amorphous and could be anything all at the same time. So what we did was we looked at what warlocks don't do, or what creatures of power warlocks haven't yet to tap into, and then we looked at things like the Aboleth, the Beholder, and things like that, and went, those alien creatures that do certain weird things that aren't normal. Yeah. Why don't we make a warlock out of that? And so we have this warlock that first thing off the bat, your creature type changes from humanoid or whatever your creature type is to aberration. You become an aberration once you take this pact, and then you gain certain physical abilities like or mental abilities, like you have advantage on wisdom saving throws and wisdom checks. You can move an additional 10 feet, or you get a natural armor. So you like you grow like scales or like a hard
That's
skin. And then we tap into the beholder portion of it, where it's about I think we called it piercing gaze, where you have 4 different options as to bonus actions that you can do, where just by seeing something within a certain distance, you can affect them, you can push them, you can stun them, you can make them afraid, you can put them to sleep. And then it goes on into becoming bigger and badder. But for us, the way that we design is we look at what isn't happening and how can we create that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay. Well, I think with that, we're going to take just a small break. Renee will be back here with us shortly once we get everybody together for their group for Wizard stuff. We'll be right back with our next guest. Hello and welcome back. We are now with our second guest of the evening, Miss Lindsay Russo, and she plays Olo. Say the name. Olo?
Olivram.
Exactly, Olivram.
Olivram.
On Wizards, and she plays Mata on Legend of Stargall. So welcome.
Yep,
welcome to
and
the show.
I play Irwin in Middle Earth.
That's right. And go ahead and tell people your ats and things too.
Yeah, my ats are Lindsay Russo on all social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook.
Nice. So it's been a while actually since you've been on the show. How's it going?
Couple
Got any
months.
projects that you can talk about?
Projects that I can talk about.
I know you're a big. what is it,
No.
anime
I'm like, what has been released? Well, I did just have an anime released last week, and
what
I'm
was that?
already blanking on the bloody name of the thing.
Sure.
But that
Not
was
busy.
released last week.
Yeah.
Huh?
You're not
No.
busy. You're not so busy or anything that you have.
Yeah.
Well, it's that whole thing is like which people might not realize is with voiceover, you tend to record well in advance of the release of the actual project.
right.
So it's like
Do they just
like
send
with
you like a
video games.
notification?
No. It's
No?
like I literally have someone follow social media for me and be like, "Oh, such and such was announced today," and I'm like, "Awesome, cool, let's tweet about it."
I remember doing that. Yeah, that was fun.
It's like, what was that? Okay, that was
6
great.
months
Yeah.
ago, yeah.
Oh no, or 2 years ago.
Oh wow, yeah.
Yeah.
Good Lord, really?
So yeah, some video games easily
Oh,
2 years
right,
of
video
development.
games.
Yeah. Well, Transformers season 1 was a year, season 2 was 2 years. Yeah.
Jeez. Huh, that's interesting.
So there you go.
Okay, well, let's dive right into. I got some Mata questions for you. We'll
Okay.
get into the wizard stuff later, but so Mata has experienced a lot since we last chatted. How's she doing? I guess is probably where we can start.
Yeah, I mean, we discovered a cave full of gnome hands and
Yeah.
eyeball.
Yeah.
I mean, they were, obviously more related to Frizz than her, but they're still gnomes. They're still
Yeah.
her people.
Yeah.
So that was kind of brutal. But I think she's definitely settled into the group a lot better. She's feeling safe. She's feeling like she can trust these people. But she's definitely like, it's time to take down some gods. She is
That's
not
what I was gonna
happy
say.
with.
Does it
Yeah.
feel like it's been sort of cranked up a notch in her book?
Oh yeah. I mean,
since
she already has a vendetta against
Sure.
authority figures. So
Then,
this has just
yeah.
made it even worse.
Well, and then there's been a couple of moments where and I was curious about this, because I mean, you said that she's settling in more, and so I've seen Mata kind of get bonding with Frizz a little bit. I mean, obviously Daff, that's been a given,
Yeah.
but there's also been more caring there and not just about being her quote unquote manager.
Yeah.
But then there's bonding with Frizz, and for just a split second, I was like, Frizz Mata?
No,
Oh, I know.
Mata is a she is a self-declared bachelorette, whatever. You know, she doesn't ever get that close to people.
She also had like equal level interest that I did into the badass battle lady people.
Oh no, she was all about
fangirling?
them. Yeah, Mata goes wherever. She
Yeah.
doesn't discriminate against whatever, and she was very, very infatuated with those
Yep.
badass ladies. Like
Everybody
she's like,
was.
I want to be them. I want to be
Look at
around
poor
them.
Lily.
I am in awe of them.
Yeah, it was amazing. Gosh, I was just gonna ask you something too. Oh, I forgot. It'll come back to me, but
Maybe.
probably not. But the thing you're talking about with the gods. So, Rex, Jordan asked this. So he said, Mata has spoken about her distaste for the gods and seemed to be prepared to remove the powers to enforce these new gods. Does Mata see the legends as actual friends, or are they currently just a means to an end?
Ooh. Yeah, I
I
want to know
think
that
that
one.
they are actually becoming friends with her for her because she spent most of, and again, I can't reveal too much of her backstory because that's still going to come out.
Sure.
But she's spent a lot of time operating on her own.
Mhm.
And to now be working with other people, I think originally she was like, okay, these are just, I'm here. This
Right.
is a
More
contractual agreement.
contacts
But
or whatever. Yeah.
yeah, but now that they've experienced a lot, especially a lot of hardships, together, that's really, it's kind of like when you go to war, it's a bonding experience.
Mhm.
So that's kind of how I see things. And she's very aware, like the Daffodil's going through some stuff. She doesn't quite know what, but she knows like that banjo came from somewhere.
Yeah, right.
And so she can
Mata's
tell.
not stupid.
No. But and then yeah, so I think she's definitely starting to see the legends as kind of her family, but also she's always in the back of her head constantly aware that she doesn't want to knowingly put people in harm's way so that's why she still kind of keeps people at a distance because she doesn't want her work to get other people hurt. What that work
yeah, I
is?
can see that. Yeah, I sort of first noticed the sort of change in Mata with you guys were with Brad, and it was
That's
the
what you call him.
yeah, whatever, I can't say his name, the big Goliath dude.
Oh yeah.
Volnir. But anyway, it was I made a joke about it on whatever week that was about Mata being like the cool aunt, and sort of playing defense between Daffodil or between Frizz and the young couple. I think that was like the moment where I was like, oh,
Yeah.
it's a little different than.
Yeah,
than-
I felt like Mata needed to step up there because like obviously, she is the second oldest one in the group. Like Frizz
Right.
is like the granddaddy. Mata I think is maybe 100 years younger than him.
That's what I was going
So
to ask you. What the age
she's
difference was.
still I'd have to look up her character sheet.
Yeah.
I think she's 200 or something. Yeah, she's a little younger than Frizz, but she's also more traveled, more experienced. She's very open-minded, and so she's like, oh, these two kids. She's like, Frizz, no cock blocking here. Come on.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And speaking of sort of the new defender as well, Cass. What's her sort of take on Cass?
Yeah, I don't know yet. She's
It's very
always,
early.
she's obviously suspicious of new people, but because Jinx trusts him, I think
Yeah, this
she's
one comes in
open
with the
to
pedigree. Hmm.
Yeah, exactly. Because obviously, Jinx has also another one who's kind of opened up, as the past couple weeks, we've learned more about her and her past,
Mhm.
and Mata can definitely relate to a lot of that. And so, if this is someone that is important to Jinx, she's willing to give him a chance. But definitely there's like some suspicion especially with, because obviously he's a blood hunter. Mata doesn't
Sure.
know that, but Lindsay knows that. So
Right.
seeing how he operates and that he does have kind of a secretive side to him, that just kind of piques her interest a little
Right.
bit. But she's willing to give him the benefit of the doubt, especially after what happened, last time, and he really did help, save the group.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I guess you guys haven't really. I mean, you had the very brief interaction within the town before you guys left, but you haven't really spent time outside of
No,
combat.
we
with
literally
so,
were like, oh, and now we're fighting
yeah.
Yeah, well, that-
demigods, elementals.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
and that like honestly, and that's the thing too. So like, because I was gonna ask like, because I was genuinely curious, kind of connected with Cass, and like you mentioned Jinx opening up. Like, how is Mata like? How is she feeling watching somebody else that was seemingly more closed off or just as closed off? Like in character, how does she feel watching somebody else slowly like granted there wasn't a whole lot of choice, like Jinx's
Yeah.
laundry kind of got barfed out of a bottle in front of everybody. But like how
That's a good
is
point.
Mata processing that
Yeah,
part?
I think, I mean, what are we, level 7 now or whatever? I
Obviously,
You guys
level
just
seven.
leveled, right? And then
We
we
did.
did just
yeah, I
level.
think so.
I think it's only a matter of time before Mata comes clean about everything. But but still, there's that part of her that wants to protect people and it's that whole, if they don't know about it, it won't hurt them sort of thing. Like the less you know, the safer you
The
are,
less
sort of
involved
deal.
they are in your
Yeah,
Yeah.
Jinx relates.
But I think if we're going up against gods now, I mean, what
might as well put it all on
doesn't
the
get
table.
much. Anything under that is gonna not seem as much of a big deal.
One of the things I'll be interested to see with your relationship with Cass is if you find out, like before you form a connection with Cass, because it hasn't really happened yet, if you find out that he has changed since Jinx knew him, like will that put you on edge a little bit? Because he's not the same Cass that Jinx knew technically.
Right.
No, whenever
So-
I'm like, I don't know how much of the background has changed, but when Jinx knew him, he was fairly frail. I'll put it that way. So we all kind of were, but
Hey
So,
now.
but you, I mean,
we
Yeah.
were.
but Mata doesn't know any of this yet because you guys haven't.
No,
had
Mata
any
knows none
kind
of this. She
combat.
just
We
knows
haven't
there's
had a
this new
chance.
guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we found Cass, and then next thing you know, we're in we're fighting elementals and
More
falling into
hands.
lakes and
Hands and holes. Hands and holes.
Hands
yeah,
and
hands and
holes.
holes.
I
Yeah.
mean, I feel like there will be a fair grilling coming soon. Like I think
Yeah.
things will get revealed, and then I feel like Inspector Mata will probably be
And
on
if
top
not
of
you,
that.
then definitely Frizz. is
Well,
gonna-
and Mata
is gonna
also,
also-
she has her connections throughout the realm, because of
True.
all of the trading that she does. So she has her ways of procuring information.
Okay, so one of the things I want to ask you, because it hasn't happened yet, it might still happen. You guys obviously have now encountered this sort of powerful god. Well, I guess it's bigger than a godlike thing. In
The
Weezage.
creator of gods.
Yeah, the
essentially,
creator
yeah.
of gods.
Mhm.
Is Mata like? Does she want to ask? Because obviously she has her issues with the gnomes and that sort of thing. Now you're standing in the presence of somebody who could snap their fingers and correct this problem. I mean, is she wanting that sort of help from?
She
I know-
definitely wanted to talk to Weezage, because Mata's also coming from, the gnomes had the old gods before the kingdom came in, and we got the new gods, and so she's definitely interested in seeing if there's a way to level the playing field,
Yeah.
so to speak, and to see if there's a way that the gnomes could, and the dwarves as well, because the gnomes and the dwarves were both kind of kicked off their land and ostracized and told they couldn't follow the old ways anymore. And so she
And
would
now she's found out that there was much worse fates for a lot of them.
yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
again, I think she understands that there's a disconnect between what's going on up here and what's going on down here.
Sure.
But the whole concept now that we're on a mission to cleanse the land, essentially, from these gods who are wreaking havoc. But it's like, well, let's also look at what the monarchy's doing. Like,
Yeah,
they've
right.
caused a lot of damage too. So can we talk about that too?
But I think out of everybody in the group, like, obviously Rex is in it for his thing, and then everybody's in it for their individual thing. But I have a feeling like Mata's the only one that's going to stick this whole event in her back pocket and be like, I'm gonna cash this in eventually. Like,
Oh, yeah.
like, we're gonna
So,
come back.
hey,
and
remember
focus
when we cleansed the land for
Yeah.
you? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, can the gnomes get a little power back in the dwarves?
Exactly. Yeah, you're
Just a
gonna
little
wait for
bit,
the perfect
little bit.
time and then be like, "Yep, here it is."
Can the little folk have their day?
Yeah, exactly. Okay, before we head into our third guest, I just want to ask real fast because I know you have a couple things on the Fableverse that you can talk about. A couple different things. I know one specifically that you are both involved in, but you want to sort of drop some hints about some things to come on the Fableverse for you.
It
We got
involves
Fireforge.
goggles and
Yeah,
Oh, Volcania?
yeah.
Yes. So
You're gonna be
So
in
I'll be
that?
part of Forge of Fate. Yeah, like I'm sure you guys, as you've talked about before, it's going to be a rotating cast and everything. But I am very excited for people to meet Rip, the character
Rip.
that I have created.
Super
I
dope.
don't know how much. Can I reveal like what she is?
I think you can do.
You'll
I don't know.
find
Well, I
out.
don't know how. Yeah, I'm pretty
I will
excited
say
because we're
I'm-
from the
Tune
same
in,
place.
Tune
It's
in, not this Sunday, but next Sunday, and find out.
Is that when
Yeah.
it is? Is that next?
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
so
the
good at the dates and
2
things.
Sundays.
We're getting pretty darn close to do.
Wow.
Yeah, so no,
Okay.
that's gonna be. I'm very excited to see how that plays out. It's just reading through the source book. If people
Casual
aren't
says you can
familiar with
reveal
this,
as
it's a
much as you want.
Kickstarter. Jordan Casual is going to be DMing it. It's a really exciting landscape. It's
Yeah.
D12 based, but
It's super
the-
fun.
the 450 page PDF document that is with it's got like little nuggets of like
Oh, it's really good.
pop culture in it. Obviously anyone who's on our Discord knows that we were giving GW shit for not having watched Princess Bride because there's a
Yep.
Princess Bride reference in the PDF and
He's like, should I know what that means?
so little things like that. But yeah, very excited, to try a new system because, and obviously we all love D&D here, but it's always really fun to try and branch
Yeah.
out and try other systems. So I'm excited about that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, we'll hang out for just a minute, and we'll get you back when we do our wizard chat. But just give us 1 second, and we'll be back with Alicia. And welcome back. We are back with our third guest, Alicia Marie.
Hey,
She-
everybody. What's up?
Yeah, I don't really know how. I was debating like in between. I don't know. Like, so you played Astra on Wizards. That's passionate.
Yes.
We'll get to that in a minute. And you also played Tipper on Vault 42. So welcome. And you want to go ahead and tell everybody where they can find you and stuff on the socials?
Yeah. Okay. I'm Alicia Marie, and you can find me on all socials at Alicia Marie Body. And it's because my background comes from fitness stuff. If you don't know that, but now I think I talk it all the time. But that's why I have the name, not because I'm trying to be cheesy.
It sounds like something I would do to be cheesy, so it's fine.
It sounds like it's slightly better than something Ronan would do to be cheesy.
That's true. That's true. I would just call myself. Oh my god, I should name myself at the face.
Oh my god.
So it should be. Karen's over here messing with filters and distracting us.
I gotta
Looks like
keep.
a
Well, no,
chicken
I'm trying to make our guests laugh and actually entertain them, Ronan.
nugget.
I love the filters.
Wonderful.
Personally, like being a costumer and like I love any sort of anything that can allow me to change myself into other things. So I love
Fun.
the filter thing is like super addicting.
I
Oh, yeah,
freaked
well-
my daughter out the other day because I removed my beard. Also,
Oh,
freaked
no.
Chills out too. Doing the same
Well,
thing.
I was gonna say, actually, speaking of filters, like your use of filters with Tipper has been absolutely
Oh yeah,
fire.
it's really good.
I've loved it. It has been so cool
Thank
to watch.
you. That's been the best part is like being, I mean, I love anything that's like technology, anything about technology and mech, anything like that. So getting to be a robot is so much fun. And like
Yeah.
when we were like given the options of what characters we could be for Vault, when we were looking through it, right away I was like, hello, I'm gonna be a synth. And April was like, I was wondering why is no one picking that particular race? And I was like, that was far and away what I was definitely going to be. And like you said the last time I interviewed with you, Ronan, like being able to be like the character type to just sort of use creativity to make things happen out of nowhere, as long as the DM is fine with it. That is the kind of gameplay I am definitely here for.
And you have showcased that since we've last talked.
I love it
primarily
so
with the
much.
Cashbot.
I was about to say Cashbot. Dude,
And what was
Cashbot.
what's
She's
was it
awesome. She's so cute.
What was the other one? It started with an H. What was the name of it?
What'd you say?
What was the other robot? It started with an H. Was it Herbert or?
There was, but there was buttered toast, but that was, I think.
No, but you had another robot at the beginning of this fight, and it started with an H, and I cannot remember his name.
You're right. It wasn't Hanky. It wasn't Herbert. It was.
No,
it wasn't. I'm getting mixed up with April's names.
Hold on, I can figure it out.
no.
Like, give me 2 seconds.
Oh,
here.
I forgot about that one.
Yeah,
Everyone keeps ruining my robots. Ash threw it.
I was about to say, I'm so surprised that,
That she threw it?
The Cashbot, not surprised.
I was gonna say I'm not surprised at all that
surprised.
she chucked that thing.
Yeah, she doesn't have like that sort of
Herman.
Herbert. You got
Herman.
it. That's right. Somebody knew. That was.
I
it.
was just so
No.
proud that Cashbot got to live as long as they have.
Me too. She did good things, man.
I like
And she was
that Ash killed her because she looked like her.
Oh man, I get there right away. I was like, I'm gonna make a robot that looks like Ash, but I know that Ash is gonna be like, can you please stop? And I knew that, like,
Sure.
Tipper was getting to the point where she was starting to like weigh on her that Ash was the only one that knew nothing. And up till now, I mean, you guys know Ash's roles have been horrible. So anytime she was supposed to see something like right in front of her face, she'd be like a natural 3, and that was it. So I guess she didn't notice. But now, since it was like right in front of her, it was the reason why Tipper just sort of threw caution to the wind and started just doing everything is because she reached the point where she just was like, I just have to be who I am. We're in the middle of a humongous fight. Things are going to happen. When I first decided to play this class in this race, when I had a conversation with April, and she was like, the thing about it is like, because of what you are, you're super strong. So we kind of have to we sort of have to nerf it a tiny bit. So if there's certain things I want to do, I have to like remove the shield in order to do it a little bit. So I have to show something. Otherwise, it's like she's too OP. In general, Yeah. So if I'm going to take all these hit points and do this thing, then I have to show that I'm a robot. And Ash just had me right in front of me. So
she finally saw some stuff.
So
in order to make her believable. Otherwise, she's just too strong.
Yeah, sure. So obviously Tipper's session was very important. How I don't know even how nervous. I know she doesn't really get nervous, but how nervous, I don't know how else to use it, was she about telling Ash her secret?
You have no idea. I honestly, this is the problem, is that throughout the whole series, I had no idea when the reveal was going to happen to anybody. Like Tipper told Marcus first. That wasn't even supposed to happen.
Yeah.
It was in my mind before the series started. I was like,
oh, you had to tell Marcus then.
Yeah,
it was like because she was starting to break down, and Marcus was awake, and she's like, I mean, I had visions in my head of before the series started that like something would happen, and she would have to reveal herself to everybody at the same time. I thought it would be something like that. Yeah, but it just kept like going along with everybody. And Clay was the most interesting because I did not know that Clay was like Night of the Living Dead under there. I had no clue.
No, clearly he was okay with it.
I suspect.
Yeah. So when Tipper said, why do you always wear that mask? And he was like, look, you have your secrets, I have mine. Tipper was like, okay, I feel that. So that was it. That. So this past episode, that's why you see all of us sort of like, because it's not like Jordan told us what was under there.
Right. And so now, I mean, technically you still don't know, right? I mean, I think isn't only Ash, she's the only one that technically knows from your group right now?
And I mean, I guess there's a slight chance that Pawn might have overseen
Pawn might
that.
know. He was in the area.
Yeah, he was in the
Uh,
area, but he was helping quote unquote homies.
Yeah.
Which I love, by the way.
Yes, I do too. Yeah, so that's going to be interesting.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
obviously, your situation didn't really get resolved. I mean, you showed her, she ran, you almost jumped out a window, normal things.
No, yeah,
And,
you know what? It's I was like you asked before. I was nervous. I knew it had to happen at some point, but I wasn't really sure like how. I kept going back and forth with how, because you start becoming like the character inside, and so it was sort of like, I don't know. I really want her. Tipper was like, I really want her to know, because she's, I for what Tipper can feel, I feel like she needs to know she's the only person who doesn't, because it starts making Tipper feel bad. But at the same time, she also knows, for the wrong reason, that Ash is sensitive toward Mech.
Yeah.
He thinks that Ash is just upset because that Protectron kicked her butt in the ring.
Right.
And maybe another one kicked her butt in another ring. That's all Tipper really knows. So she's sort of just like, well, she just knows that Ash does not like things that are robotic in any way. So I thought that Ash was gonna roll initiative for that, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I was like, it's gonna go down.
Yeah, I honestly, I think the way that it played out, was very, was probably the best it could have gone. Because for that moment, I was like, oh, Ash is about to do it. She's about to knock her out the way. She's about to do it. And I was worried that Marcus was going to step in. And then I was terrified for, how are they going to resolve this? And so I think really the way that it played out was the best it could have been. But
I think I felt bad for, though, poor Marcus. So hold on, hear me out. So she asked you about being a robot, or she asked you to tell her whatever, and you look to Marcus. So now he's thrown in the middle of the situation.
Mm-hmm.
Which I'll ask you about here in a second. But anyway, Tipper looks to Marcus, and then he's just standing there. He's like, I don't know, do whatever. And then as soon as Ash hears what's going on, yes, I'm a robot, she turns to Marcus and goes, how long? And I'm like, how's it his fault?
The look on his face, was like, oh, everybody, honestly, just in that moment, watching all of the players, Jordan's reactions, watching all of it happen was just ooh, spicy. I'm here for this. It was so good. I went back and watched that moment twice.
Yeah. But Marcus is just standing there and be like, I hate it here. What is
Marcus is generally, to me, Marcus is generally a very funny character, because he's so laid back and underground. But if you really look at it, he's the one character that we didn't really know a lot about from the beginning.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, he's got secrets for sure.
Right?
His character's deep, but he's so where everyone else on the scale is just this, his is just this. You know what I mean? And it doesn't. Yep. It never works out well for that type of character in that environment.
He is. He's like, what am I doing with these people?
Yeah,
what am I doing?
Nuts. But I did want to ask you about that. So did she look to Marcus just because he was close and he was familiar, or was it purposely Marcus for a specific reason, or?
No, it was specifically because Marcus was there, and she knew Marcus was there.
Oh,
and and she's sort of for some reason, Tipper sees all these people as older brothers and sisters, even though they're not really. That's how she views everybody, sort of. So she knew Marcus was in the room, and I think it sort of worked out because Marcus was the first person who found out. So the fact that he was there when she had to reveal the last person, kind of well, and he's because if Clay was in the room, Clay would have been like, hell no. People go, well, just no, Clay was just play it off.
Well, then you would have just seen from behind Ash, you would have seen all of those expressions and gestures of Clay going, no, don't do it, please stop.
Clay would have not. No, he would have been he would just say some
he would have ducked out.
We all have two skins. You're like, what? I don't know how that helps me right now.
Well, and
she was already raging. She was already pissed off.
Well, and that's the thing. Ash is, Tipper is so endearing, and and in so many ways, Tipper is the mech, but she is the most endearing, sweet character out of all of them. She's a robot, but she has the most empathy.
Well, she's the thread that you guys definitely would not be together anymore had it not been. I mean, you guys would have definitely went your separate ways a couple times had it not been for Tipper viciously holding on to the family dynamic.
But like, well, I wouldn't even say like she's just like, again, it's a really nice, I don't know the exact phrase because I'm not a word person, but it's
Word person.
I'm not, it's not like an allegory, is
Right.
it? But it's like she's, again, like all of these humans are, well, humans, super mutants, whatever, human descendants are super hardened, super
Yeah.
robotic in their
Damaged. A
ways.
little bit of
She's very
Yeah.
naive. Yeah, she's
Well,
got a certain
and then you
naivety
have
to her.
Yeah, but then you have Tipper who is so just innately kind, and it's, yeah. Thank you, Renee. It's an oxymoron. But she like it's really great to watch that contrast of a creature that hasn't had to go through all of the harsh.
Well, I think it's neat
in a
because
different way.
she has just as much emotional damage as everyone else, but she's incapable of emotion. So she handles it a lot better than everyone else.
Well, we say
that's
incapable,
interesting.
but like I
Oh.
wonder if that's changing.
Sure, it's certainly
mark.
changing. Yeah, up
Yeah.
until this point, I should say that she was incapable of it. So she's just handled it a lot better.
Yeah.
Yeah, she did have she did have her Tipper tantrum in the bus.
Tipper tantrum.
I forgot about that.
Does not
I
compute.
forgot about that. Yeah, yeah
I'm gonna
went
steal
all
that. That's hilarious.
you went all pouty
Oh,
for an
God.
episode.
So funny.
Okay,
if you
cool.
think
So-
about like how Tipper acted in the first episode
Oh,
compared to
100%.
now, it's a
100%.
progression like of like how she's been programmed to absorb and react. Remember how she used to repeat people when they spoke?
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
her. It was basically her technology learning, and it
Yeah.
just learns super fast. That's all. But that's what, like in the beginning, how she was super like robotic and weird. So I wanted her to progress to being more, more human, sort of.
Sure.
But that's exactly right, Taryn. Like she doesn't have like the baggage yet that everyone that we all carry as humans, sort of, or
Yeah.
superhumans or humanoids or whatever yet.
I
But
was about to say, since I don't think maybe there's
Sentient
one,
beings.
two. No, we know for sure there's, I guess maybe two normal humans in the whole party.
Yeah, Marcus and the rest of them. There you go. Let's just describe it like that. Okay, so D'Angelo had a good question I want to ask you, sort of getting away from Tipper a little bit here, but it said that it says you're a cosplayer, author, model, actress, and so much more. You can tell he wrote this.
Of course.
You no doubt have a lot on your plate at any given time. What tips do you have for time management in order to ensure you make your deadlines for your projects?
oh, that's actually a really good question. People ask me that a lot. I am in sort of big time ADHD. So we have those of you who are ADHD can totally attest to this. We have the ability we have two modes. One is hyper focus. The other one is I don't give a crap at all. There's no middle ground. So with things that are artistic and creative, I'm like all this stuff, D&D, costume making, makeup, styling, whatever. I'm over here for like everything else. I'm like, what? Oh yeah, my kitchen's a mess. Oh yeah, the dishes. Like I'm just like that. So I'm never really, when people look at me and they think, oh my God, she has like everything together, but really like I'm throwing things around all the time.
Sure.
What does help is lists. Like
Yes.
list like your
Same.
life depends on it.
Yes. Well, like otherwise you'll feel like you're forgetting something because your brain moves 1,000 miles a minute, and so then you're like,
Yes.
oh crap, is there something I'm supposed to be doing? But if you have this list, you can always kind of bounce back and go, oh nope, we're good. Like,
Totally. Like
Yeah.
I literally
I guess I'm
have
gonna have to get on the list train.
list.
Oh my
like on a
gosh.
list for
so I have notebooks full of lists. Yes.
That's amazing.
that is the only way, like literally like pen and paper lists, like the
Sure.
old school pen and paper,
Yep.
where
Sure.
I have I'm like Tipper, character development list. New character that I'm playing in Wizard, character development list, for everything. And then because D&D, I'm doing a lot of shows at charities and stuff like that,
Right.
in order to keep track of it and where each thing is, like I have to keep lists, or I would be Tipper in like Wizards, forgetting a different character completely.
Sure. That would be great, actually. Oh, okay. So I want to get everybody back on here so we can talk about some wizard stuff. So just give us a second, and we'll get back here, and we'll do some Moonlander things.
Yeah.
Welcome back. We now have
Welcome
all of
back.
our guests with us, so we can talk a little bit of Wizards. We, like I said at the top of the show, we have Moonlander directly following this episode of Fox Talks. So you guys can tune into this. All three members here are Moonlanders. Two are current. One is former, but we'll get to that in a second.
Former, you, Ronan.
Because she's dead. You know,
Ronan.
She'll-
The
hold
other
on,
character
hold on.
has been there for one, and two, too soon. Mimi,
All right,
did you
we'll get
not
there.
watch Chorus cry?
I did. Oh God,
That
that was tough. Oh, why did you do that to him, Alicia? Anyway, so,
Get out of
Did
here.
we forget about hashtag blame solo? Anyways,
that's true. Okay, so I want to ask a couple Wizards questions. We'll do each of you guys, and then yeah, it's 100% accurate. It's Solo's fault. And then we'll do a little game. We'll do a Wizard game for you guys that you guys everyone can participate in. Okay, so we'll do first sort of in the same order. So Renee, this was from, I believe it was from Himian. Khalees
was.
has taken on the role of big brother to so many and seems dedicated to being there for Himian. How far is Khalees willing to go to be with or be there for Himian? And is Himian's life and their relationship worth losing the bonds of his house?
yes.
Ooh.
How dedicated exactly is
Heavy.
Khalees?
Heavy.
Yeah. So that's a big question.
It's a big question.
Very big question. So he's absolutely right in the fact that Khalees has kind of taken on that role of being the older brother figure. Is really is who he's become. That's what when you're the captain of the ship, that's what you got to do. Is you got to be there, and you've got to, he's the first one to arrive, last one to leave, kind of situation. And I'm cracking because I've been reading this question over and over and over and trying to have the right answer, and
Sure.
I don't have it.
I'm gonna reread it. How far is Khalees willing to go to be with or be there for Himian? Is Himian's life and their relationship worth losing the bonds of his house? Holy hell!
I think
Is
with
he
where
willing to barter?
right. Yar. Parlay. So what I will say is that Khalees, in his current situation, where we stand right now, Khalees doesn't really know. Like, Renee knows a lot of things based on what he watched during prom. What
Sure.
Khalees knows is like next to none of that. And so he's going to walk into every situation with that mentality of like, he's here with me, he cares about me, he wants my success as much as he wants his own success,
Sure.
even though sometimes his success may supersede my own. But
Sounds healthy.
right. But at the end of the day, he only knows so much. So
Right.
at this current moment, Khalees is going to go to bat for Himian as many times as possible, even though he knows, like, more often than not, he doesn't have to, because at the end of the day, going to the how far is he willing to go, it's however far he feels is necessary. Like, if I need to stand up for him, then maybe I need to stand up for him. But, that depends on what's going on. So, is he willing to lose the bonds of his house for the relationship that he has? That's a harder question, because at this point, things have shifted in such a strong way that, like, he needs to be there for every single one of those girls. Every single one of them. Because if anybody feels untoward by any means necessary, he's going to feel like that's the priority. because if there's anything that Khalees has learned, it's that family comes first.
Sure.
And in the role play that I've written, which will be released eventually at some point in time, Khalees has actively written down and verbatim said, "These are my sisters."
Right.
So his family is the most important thing to him at any given moment.
That makes
So
the next question weird.
Yeah.
Also, Ola would probably stab you in the back if you abandoned her. I'm just saying.
no, and that's a valid statement. Because
It's great that
well, it's
Renee
my fault
brought-
you're in this situation.
It's great that Renee brought segues to this show for you, Ronan.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
isn't
Okay.
that great?
So the next
I'd
question.
love to teach you how to do your job.
Shut up. Is for Lindsay.
Yeah.
Based on what he literally just said, does Olo have a wee bit of a crush on her roomie and best friend Khalees?
Not even.
No,
a
it's
little
all
bit.
brother sister.
Nope. So yeah, 100%. So Olo, I mean, and we've talked about this offline, but Khalees and Olo are both they thems. Olo is 100% platonic. Like she doesn't,
And
yeah. It's 100. It's she like honestly. I'm gonna have to go back to military terms because that's what I know. Like this is her battle buddy. This is
Well,
her blood.
and then I have a
brother.
like I mean and that's the thing with Olo too though is like I mean all of these romances like it was kind of like junior high, everyone was doing everybody.
Olo's at prom and she's just like, what the fuck?
I was
God.
curious. So I mean, I think I remember you saying something at one point, and I know you said Olo is they them. Is Olo ace as well, or is it that she just has her priorities?
That's a good question. I consider her asexual, but you know, it's not a label she's
Yeah.
given herself. It's just her
Yeah.
state of being.
Well, that's I was kind of
No.
wondering if like I mean really
Yeah.
if she was like gray or if she was just straight ace and it just wasn't something that ever occurred to her.
Yeah. It just didn't ever occur to her, you know? Yeah.
Good. I think that's sort of the
Yeah.
running theme with the show's family. I mean, that's definitely what
Yeah.
Keegan took away from it.
Yeah. But I will say as much Astra's death rocked her.
Ah, you guys are so
as
good
much
at my
friction
job.
as they had. As much friction as they had.
It's Chris's fault.
We got a little surprise for you today.
Speaking
We
of,
got a little surprise for you
Astra
tonight.
is, dead.
And,
So
Thegan- and just
It's
also
not
as a
a
refresher.
spoiler. It's been
Well,
out for 2 weeks.
This is
okay?
true, but as a refresher, yes, she is
Spoiler
dead, and Thegan has one hand and one eye. Continue.
it's true. That is true.
Oh, that was some shade.
He's more than
Okay.
Ash. Anyway, so any hints about what we can expect from your
Character.
upcoming
Ooh.
wizard?
Yeah, here's the thing. Like, I knew
Oh,
sort
Jesus.
of that Astra was going to go. I just didn't know how.
Right.
So that was all Solo. Okay, don't blame me.
Solo.
She was the one who said she want to play the character. So what's the best way to get rid of a character that
you-
all of those people that love her to death will try to bring her back? The only way to get rid of her is to disintegrate her.
You can also cut people's heads off, apparently.
Well, that too.
Oh,
I feel like that's how you can.
Whatever,
kill
you weren't
most
even a real person.
creatures in fantasy.
Well,
Oh.
but I've been curious. I mean, like as a co-player too. Like I've been very curious to know who this wizard is. Like I've gotten snippets because of being broskies with Ronan, so I know a bit about who he's bringing in. But I want to know who's joining us.
Actually, I like her. I'm playing my favorite race ever. She's a goblin. And I'm upset because I was gonna do like really like cool goblin makeup, but like I do a lot to my skin because I'm always trying different makeup and weirdness. And sometimes my skin is like, no bitch. I tried makeup on and like it's like my face, I have a rash on my face right now. Like the lighting is being very kind, but let me tell you, I look like crazy right now, like a rash. So I just said I'm just gonna put some stuff. But anyway, she's a goblin. She's very
your rash is
young.
Oh yeah.
Stop it.
I love that there
Hush
are
your
so many tiny people. Like, continue. Sorry.
she's little. She's a goblin. My favorite. Just because just because visually speaking, like it makes me laugh to think of a little goblin, and that's why it's very funny. I think that Renee brought up Mythical Melee because this goblin is related to Pascal, but they're not like sis, but they're related.
Love it.
And like I even put like in her backstory,
Yay.
she's related to Pascal, who's dead. Or wait, the devil? I don't know.
Yeah.
She's forsaken or something, whatever now.
Yep.
Nice.
That's-
Yeah,
Anyway,
this
she's-
the average height of these characters have plummeted this season.
It's like
Dropping,
legends. It's
dropping.
like legends. We are the team of little people. We are the little folk.
Yep. I went from 7 foot to like 2'9". So
Really?
You're still
Yeah.
taller than Ari.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah. I'm
she's
small.
3'3" specifically.
Yep.
Nice.
You're almost a full foot taller than Ari.
Oh, she's wee, tiny little. She'll be like, "Oh, hi."
She's a little
Don't
goblin.
step on her.
I love it.
Love it.
So is she, because I know before you had mentioned that Astra was kind of really posh and things, and so you had mentioned wanting to play a more kind of rambunctious character.
You know
What is she like without giving too much away? Because I mean we're about to meet her, but
That's right. I think like so. I mean,
Posh
you know the story.
goblin.
Like, I.
Sorry.
I'm gonna find. You know, I do know where you live, Ronan. You know, you've been trolling me on social media. I'm gonna-
I'll help you.
Okay,
Well,
whenever he trolls,
better.
just know that like I am literally right behind him,
That's
ready to troll him
100%
back.
true. That's 100%
Really?
true.
Oh, 100%. You can go to his Twitter and see the things that I've roasted him for.
Oh, I need to get on Twitter already. Anyways.
Yeah, you do. What are you kidding me? That's like my. But anyway, maybe that's another story. Like, yeah, he's been roasting me like little digs here and there on like Twitter. I'm like, excuse me? Ew, what are you doing?
Wrong
Out
one.
chasing.
Yeah, that right.
I'm like,
Hopping on that like train.
yeah, he's having fun with it. I can tell.
Yes.
But this, okay, so back to what I was saying about this
Yeah.
particular character. I've realized something about like when you're creating a character for a campaign, it has to be something that like you really just like sort of place your play style so that you fall in love with the character and you like playing it, because the worst thing is being in a campaign with a character you realize you don't really like that much.
Sure.
Yeah.
You're like, oh God, oh my God. So with this one, I'm getting to sort of lean into my play style without being too vaudeville.
Mm,
My heroes are Lucille Ball, Catherine O'Hara, Carol Burnett.
Mhm.
Those are my
Oh,
heroes.
100%. Carol is my girl.
Yes.
Carol Burnett.
Yes.
They're
Yes.
my just in acting wise. Those three are historically. Catherine O'Hara on Schitt's Creek. Come on.
Oh
my God.
Catherine
The
O'Hara-
Catherine
she's so
O'Hara's
great.
old school stuff from like
Yes.
the 70s and
And
going
Second
back to her
City.
sketch
Oh,
comedy days.
God,
Oh my
yeah.
God.
I'm saying genius. So for with D&D, it allows me to sort of lean into things that I like, try things that I like without being too vaudeville. Which
Right.
kind of can throw off the whole group if you're like slapstick all day. That's just not me. So with this character, I get to be a little bit more, a little bit lighter, sort of. And she's really more down to earth, even though let me see what I can reveal. Oh, okay. Well, I can reveal this. She's very young. So she's sort of really young to be accepted at Van Riem. She's really excited. She did not think she would get accepted because her powers were very raw.
Yeah.
So when it got like known that Van Riem has the school moved, the school was moving, she
gonna be
applied.
big.
Yeah, she applied, and when she got accepted, she was like, "Whoa."
Well, I mean,
And
to be
her-
fair, when you kill off half the student body, you're going to take anybody at that point. I mean, let's be honest.
That's true. That's true.
Olo
You can't
with
rope
the
for your
I'm just kidding.
acceptance.
Well, no, but Olo's also like one of the worst wizards. So yeah,
Sure.
she's speaking from Olo came to the school unable to control her magic. So yeah, I get where you're
Sure.
coming from.
Yeah, Van Riem has become the safety school. That's what's up.
Yeah.
That's
I mean, yeah.
She's like, I'm so excited to be here.
Language
Olo's like,
children.
they're accepting anyone now. So
Yeah.
This is
fine.
Well,
Wizards Community College.
Probably.
Well,
Yeah,
now Wizards is becoming all fun and games. We're not worried about getting
Right.
killed by gods and
Yeah,
shadow
yeah,
dragons.
yeah.
So now we get
Yeah.
to have some fun.
Yeah, it'd be
Oh,
nice
that's
to
true.
not brood through every episode. I mean,
Yeah.
Ola's a brooder, but it would
100%.
be nice to not
Yeah.
brood through every episode.
Yeah,
But-
right?
Like, oh no.
Crossroads are gonna be
Speaking
so
Who died
different.
now?
Oh, it is. But speaking of
That's
fun
gonna
and
be so weird.
games,
Ooh.
what
Is it game time?
was it? Yes. What was
Well,
that
here's the
game?
thing. So I don't want to interrupt because you guys got your game coming up here pretty soon. In fact, we already have people joining. There's the pink chair. So I don't want to miss that. But what I do want to do real fast before we head out is,
Okay.
and we'll start with Renee. Just real quick, give me your sort of quick line prediction for tonight. Ooh, God, seeing Anna just terrible.
Anyways, so quick line prediction for what's going to happen. The school will move. That's a guarantee.
Yes.
But
spoiler.
things. I think Khalees takes a harder step into that Big Brother role. I think
Sure,
that's
you had
what
a big
happens.
moment at the end of your ascension. So
Yeah, where I was literally like carrying both of them out, as like
Yeah.
on one on each arm. So I think this session it's just another step into that direction.
perfect, Lindsay.
If Olo doesn't get some intervention from her fellow housemates, she's about ready to go down a very dark path. A lot of changes has happened in the past 2 days. You will see them when she comes out today. If anyone's looked at my character sheet, you might know what I'm talking about.
Oh, God, now I'm interested.
But yeah, she all of the death that has happened has really rocked her, and her life has been nothing but tragedy and death. But like to finally have made friends and family and just to have them ripped away from her.
Yep, that's gonna suck.
So a change of scenery might be great for her.
Sure.
It's like going to the seashore,
Sure.
you
Yeah.
know,
We're
You're
going to Disney
fresh
World.
air.
you're Stella getting her groove back.
Yay.
Got it. Alicia.
Yay.
Alicia, what's
Oh
your
my
prediction for
gosh.
tonight?
My prediction. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
the thing about it is my character's new to the school.
Sure.
So she's just gonna be like getting
your
to
prediction
everybody.
is everyone's gonna love your character.
Oh, I hope so. We'll see.
I just want
Yes,
them
she's so
all to
cute.
meet.
Yeah, me too.
Yes.
That's what I can't wait for.
Tiny people party.
Mhm.
Perfect. Well, we got about 30 minutes until it happens. So real quick, we'll go around the room and we'll just tell everybody where everybody can find you. Go ahead and start with Renee.
Yeah, I'm Renee Beauregard. You can find me at Dragon Rock RPG Design on Instagram, at Dragon Rock RPG on Facebook and Twitter, where you can see me and my partner Daniel Lieberman create 5e supplements for D&D.
Awesome. Lindsay?
And I'm Lindsay Rousseau without a D on all the social medias. You can catch me here Mondays, Legends of Shao Gul, Wednesdays with the Rollout, and then Middle Earth and Phage of Fort. Coming
I
soon.
literally in my head was like, why would Russo have a D in it?
No.
Because I'm an idiot.
Everyone spells
No,
my
I get
first
it.
name wrong,
Yep.
and then they do the Italian spelling of my
Sure.
last name, and so I always have to tell people it's Lindsay without a D, and it's the French Rousseau, not
That
the
makes
Italian
perfect sense.
Rousseau, because Italian
Rousseau.
is Russo,
Yeah.
whereas French
Rousseau.
is Rousseau.
Rousseau.
We have more letters.
Yes, we do. We
Nice.
have so
Renee
many.
knows what I'm
letters.
talking
I
about.
do.
Alicia.
Yep. I'm Alicia Marie, and you can follow me at Alicia Marie Body on socials, and I'm on Wizards and Vault on Saturday nights, and anything else I can possibly jump in here on the channel. I especially loved playing Mythical Melee. I'm glad that Renee brought that up because it makes me laugh all over again. So,
It does.
Can't wait for the next one.
Be awesome. And I am Ronan Fox. You can find me at Ronan Fox on Instagram and now on Twitter, where I troll Alicia. So go ahead and enter Moonlander into the chat for our mid-show giveaway. We'll be back in 30 minutes for the start of the Aftermath Part 1 for Moonlander, or Part 2 for Moonlander. And yeah, so for Fox's sake, be nice to each other.
Oh.
oh.
No.